when Peter was explaining like to Joanna to like he's like it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction.
You take a penny from the tray, right?
Yeah.
From the cripple tray?
Yeah, from the Why are you taking pennies away from cripples?
The pennies for everyone.
Yeah. Welcome to Movies, Film, Cinema, your premier movie podcast where we deep dive into the world of movies, dissecting the latest blockbusters, celebrating classic films, and exploring the magic of cinema. Join us as we discuss everything from Hollywood hits to indie gems, all things movies under one roof. Pop some popcorn, close that disc tray, and enjoy Movies, Film, Cinema. Welcome to Movies, Film, Cinema. I'm your host, Big Bird. We're your premier movie podcast where we love talking about movies. We love talking about movies more than we love filing TPS reports. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Billy V and Tyler, the Mime Doctor. And today we have a very special guest. We have Brian. Brian Rhodes is a longtime friend of me and Billy V's, and he's here today, and he suggested the movie we're talking about today. We're talking about Office Space. And right before we talk about Office Space, we're going to hit a quick ad.
Corporate accounts payable, Nina speaking. Just a moment.
Hey, that was a fun ad, right? Well, today, guys, we're going to be talking about the movie Office Space. This movie was chosen by our very best friend, Brian Rhodes. Brian is a longtime friend of me and Bill. We all went to high school together, but if you maybe want to elaborate more about how you and Bill met, because you guys knew each other way before I was in the picture.
Sure. I think I met Bill in third grade or something. You'll have to jump in.
It was either third grade or like right after third grade, because that's when I first came over to, oh my God, what is it called?
Green Garbage.
Earth. Green Garbage.
Earth.
Yeah,
Green Gables, yeah. Yeah, so I met Bill about third grade, I think, and I'm not sure if we were good friends right away, but we had a mutual friend that we became friends through pretty quickly after that. I know we were hanging out in elementary school and good friends through middle school and high school, and then met you in high school or middle school. Well, actually met you.
I would say, but that's a common confusion between you and Bill. I wasn't here during middle school. I came here freshman year.
Okay.
But even when I was in high school and I brand new came here, it was like, yeah, you went to Carmody, right?
Yeah.
Like, no.
I feel like you were around. I don't think we knew each other till high school, but that makes sense if you weren't even around. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him on the freshman football team or field, so
Yep.
It was like day one of high school when this guy came in the picture.
Brandon's just a familiar face. I remember people that you and I met, and they're like, "Oh, didn't you go here?" You're like, "No, I didn't even live in Colorado then."
Yep.
They're like, "Really?"
Yep. I always got that, especially when I was younger. It was like, oh, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah.
I know you. I'm like, it's the first time we ever met, buddy. I'm sorry. Like I said, we were talking about today's show. We're going to be talking about Office Space. Actually, before we even get to that, I always like to ask, we've had our buddy John, who had to join us at a different point in time, but even I've asked Bill and asked Tyler, what's your favorite movie, man? Like, what do you like to, maybe go back to, all the time, or what's your like, oh my God, you have to see this movie?
It's such a tough question. I know you guys have struggled with that in previous episodes. Forrest Gump has to be near the top. All three of us
that's
quote that
mine.
movie
I took that one already.
Too bad. You only like it because of me. So
Yeah. 7.
12. 15 Dr. Peppers, 12 Jennies. Gotta get your numbers right, guys.
I know that was me like growing up the whole entire time. It's always 7, right?
It's 12. It's 12. Anyways, yeah, Forrest Gump's got to be up there. I'm a Bruce Willis fan. I think a lot of his stuff is great. Kind of one of his lesser known pieces is Hostage. I've always thought that's pretty good. I don't know if there's anybody else in it besides him that's a notable actor, but it's kind of a interesting. He's like a retired cop that did like negotiations with like hostage situations and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And retired because of a bad situation that kind of ruined his career. But then ends up being stuck back into that situation, kind of not of a choice of his own. And it's a good movie.
Oh,
very interesting. So
Awesome.
I don't know, Bruce Willis, Forrest Gump, I like a lot of action stuff, but
Yeah, just very manly stuff.
sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, this movie was chosen by you. Is there kind of like any kinship you have to this movie? Is this something like you kind of grew up with, or we'll talk a little bit about kind of at least our generation with this movie is kind of the FaceTime that kind of everybody got with it here in a little bit. But
Sure.
anything stand out to you in this movie?
Not in particular off the top of my head. I think picking a movie from 1999, it's one of those just classic ones that like it's highly quotable. A lot of people just enjoy the movie and stuff for so many different reasons and stuff. I think the amount of quotable lines and some of the humor in it is awesome. There's certainly better movies from 1999, but it's just a classic.
Yeah,
It's fun.
for sure. And Tyler, have you being our non-movie guy, do you remember seeing this movie back in the day? Was this a first time watch for
No,
you?
I'd never seen it before. I certainly know of it. I mean, it's like cultural zeitgeist stuff, our generation specifically. And I don't know, I'm like a grumpy bastard. Like, and like everyone's like, oh, this is a staple. I'm like, I don't care. But now, it's interesting to see that stuff. And it was fun. Like, and it's always interesting to hear quotes and, oh, that's where that's from. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense where that's from. Like, he says, his neighbor, is like, oh, yep, hanging the drywall at the McDonald's or whatever. I'm like, so that's where that's from. Okay. I knew a guy that used to say that, and it felt like it was, I'm like, that's too specific. And he'd use
I'm doing the drywall up in the McDonald's.
Yeah, and he'd use it in like a specific inflection.
Yeah, it's all
And so I'm like, this is from something. But, I haven't seen anything, so I'm like, oh, I won't know what it's from. But
No, that's fair. Bill, how about for you? Is this something that you have any type of kinship towards, or any like lines that you like to say regularly?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say kinship, but it's definitely like our childhood, and we grew up in the '90s with this type of humor. But I actually hadn't seen this, and it's probably over a decade. So it was fun to revisit it and just see all the, like Tyler was saying, all these like quotable quotes that just came flooding back in, and actors that I totally forgot were in this. So it was like kind of like watching it for the first time again.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I hadn't seen it probably in about a decade or so as well, and all of the actors that were in it, I was like, oh, that's so and so. Oh, that's so and so. And even going through kind of like the IMDb's of these people, I was like, oh, okay. And we're gonna talk here just briefly in a moment about certain actors, but really just kind of like a huge kind of like character actor ensemble in this movie here. Really, really enjoyed it. For those of you who have never seen Office Space, spoiler alerts, you had 25 years to see it. So the short premise of the movie is basically we have our main protagonist. We have Peter. He absolutely hates his job. He's like the total like introvert, doesn't want to do anything, wants to stay home all the time. Gets hypnotized and gets hypnotized in the middle of his hypnotization, I guess is the proper term.
Hypnosis.
Hip hop? Hip hop anonymous? Damn you!
In the middle of his hypnosis, his hypnotist has a heart attack or has some type of heart issue, which is a very comical and great scene. And he is kind of stuck into like this temporary hypnosis, and he just doesn't give a crap.
Did you say temporary, or he's just permanently stuck in it? Because
So
his doctor dies.
Yeah,
and never
so
snaps him out.
I want to talk about that because there's a scene and kind of like his mood change halfway through.
Yeah.
Because there's just like anything in the nerddom of movies, there's like fan theories and other things that people kind of like make arguments for and against. But anyways, he starts not giving a crap about life and his job, and just kind of lives his own best life, and it actually works out good for him for a long time. And then some shenanigans happen where some firings happening around the office, and from there, basically there's a Ocean's 11 kind of like esque heist at the end, and there's potential fire in the building, and
Set the building on fire.
yeah, I told them if they would move my office again.
Talking about quotable quotes, that's what Brian
That's
and
gotta
I
be
bonded over
number,
growing
number
up.
one. Set the building on fire. Number one
Yeah,
quote.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we didn't set any buildings on fire, but we did our fair share
We
of
almost
setting
did.
things on fire. So
As we like to say
that
on the
was
show.
definitely one of our
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Well, statute of limitations is passed on most of that stuff. It's
Yeah,
fine.
fair enough.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that the building's no longer there.
Well, for those of you who are in the know or don't know, so this movie is based off of a little comic short that Mike Judge made even way before he had made Beavis and Butthead. He's responsible for making Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. If you've seen the movie Idiocracy at all, that's a great movie as well. But this is his first, venture into live action. So he had made a 2-minute short of Milton, basically, and Lumbergh, and like had them kind of like, yeah, hi, can you do this? And Milton's like, I don't want to do that. And it was just comical for the time. And so somebody said, hey, you got any ideas for a movie? Because he's, riding high off the hog off of King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead. So he goes, yeah, I made this short. And they're like, yeah, do that. And he's like, well, I don't want to make a movie just about Milton because he seems like a character that would be like cool for like a few seconds, but you don't want to follow him home because he's kind of weird.
Special features. I think he's interviewed. And he's like, nobody's gonna want to see what he does at home.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody wants to see what Milton does when he goes home. Like,
Yes, exactly.
Maybe one or two people do, and they should be helped as well.
Yep. That is just the kind of the brief antithesis of why this movie was made. When this movie first came out in 1999, so it was really praised a lot by critics, but unfortunately, once it hit theaters, it was kind of a huge bomb. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, the movie had a $10 million budget, and in the theaters only made $12 million back on its release. Mike Judge had said something to the effect of like, he goes, yeah, I had Chris Rock calling me, who was big at the time. I had some writers at SNL call me and some past coworkers, and they said, man, this movie's hilarious. It's brilliant. And they couldn't understand why people didn't, go to the show. In later interviews, he goes, really, I think it was kind of down to marketing. I mean, if you guys can see on camera, or we'll show a picture, kind of here above my face, there is the poster, the original poster of the Office Space, where it's just a guy covered in Post-it notes. So it's like, okay, what is the movie about?
it's very vague.
Yeah, very vague. We're a society that say don't judge a book by its cover, but that's all we do is judge a book by its cover.
What would you do for the cover? Like,
Right.
It's kind of a weird movie. Like, how do you even advertise for a movie about bland office life?
Right, and it's kind of like a Seinfeld movie. And Tyler, you had said this like prior to the podcast. You're like, it's a movie kind of about nothing, and that was like the appeal for Seinfeld, was like, it's a show about nothing.
Yeah, and that's true. Well, and Seinfeld is one of those too that like when it was out, I didn't get it. I was just like, why do people like this?
Yeah.
And I've gone back to it, and some of it, I find funny now. But even today, it's not really my, I'm not a huge fan. But I remember at the time, like, I'm like, what is the draw here? And so I could see, something like Office Space, especially if it's just a movie. It's not a series. It's not. People can be drawn in as time because word gets around. Hey, this is pretty good. And if it's something that's going on over years, with something that's short.
Yeah.
And it ends up just looking like, how do you, like as Brian was saying, how do you advertise that?
Right.
It looks like a corporate ad.
And I think for Seinfeld, for you at least, Tyler, that's also like we were like kids, we were teenagers or whatever when that was out. So it's like it was probably the jokes were probably funny, but we didn't fully get it because we weren't the adults living in that like mundane, everyday New York life that they were.
No, I'm sure that's
you know what
part
I
of
mean?
it. I'm also just weird, so I mean, I don't expect anything to click with me. But like,
If you're weird, then you should click with it more. Then
Right.
I guess. But
well, no, and people like Kramer were just competition.
yeah, for sure.
It's just how you walked into every room. It was like, hey, what's going on?
Giddy up.
Well, the other thing Mike Judge had said about kind of the marketing and stuff like that. So Something About Mary came out in 1998, the year before, the summer before. And Fox, who's the production company, was like, hey, like, we got we got a great hit on our hands. Let's go with another comedy. This Mike Judge guy is really cool. So even if you watch the trailers, it's kind of sold like a rom-com, like Something About Mary, which is a completely different motif. Every stage throughout the movie, Mike Judge had a vision for this, and the studio kind of fought him on it. So in the end, he kind of got his way. Obviously, he made the movie he wanted, but just the way it was sold and marketed was, just not kind of lucrative for the movie. Jennifer Aniston, who's in the movie, she was a big star at the time, still is a big star, but she's not even on the cover. She's not even on like any of the posters or anything like that. So something that just to kind of keep in mind, they're like, oh, why did this bomb? Is like because the marketing and stuff around it. Like,
what else was coming out then?
Say that again?
What else was coming out then? What else was there in theaters?
During that time, I don't know specifically. Well, definitely, you've seen some of the kind of like the style of movies. Like we talked about Blast from the Past in our last episode. A lot of, I guess, kind of drier humor, very 1990s slapstick humor, I guess, is kind of what I would say is probably more kind of akin to around that time. So, I mean, this movie is kind of different in the fact that like it's kind of highbrow humor, I would even say a little bit. Like it's also like the everyman type of humor. We'll talk about kind of the music in here. Mike Judge listened to a lot of rap albums while he was listening to this, and like he had to fight the studio to get like we'll talk about the printer scene, but to get that song in there. So it's just a very quirky movie. The movie like actually found a lot of success, as a lot of kind of our movies do on our show, in home video. So as soon as it hit VHS and DVD, like the rental sales went through the roof, and the studio was like, okay, now we can print the money, and Comedy Central actually picked it up for licensing, I want to say in 2001 or 2. And I think I heard an interview saying like between like 2001 and 2 to like 2004, they played it on Comedy Central like 23 times.
I think it was higher.
Yeah.
I saw that same thing. It was like 35 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is like, like unheard of for like a movie around that time. So
Really? Okay.
which I think personally, I think that's the first time I saw it too, was on Comedy Central. So, so that was like how a lot of people kind of got involved into that movie, and like kind of, partook in how to watch it. So, well, I figured we'll just do a quick synopsis of kind of who's in the movie, what they're from, things like that. Feel free to chime in anytime and just kind of say, oh yeah, hey, I remember them for this, or oh, that's a good movie, or something like that. Always welcome to share in the love and the memories. So our main star, who is Peter, our main protagonist, his whole kind of career in general, and even before this movie, he was kind of like a independent, actor in independent films. He does a lot of like TV work and kind of guest spots and stuff like that. The movie he was known for right before this movie, which kind of kicked off the indie film craze in the 90s, was called Swingers. So he was in that. And then a lot of people might know him from Band of Brothers as Captain Nix. That's kind of where I know him from. He also has some really cool and awesome behind the scenes stuff in that movie. He does like his own like little before selfies were a thing, where he took his camera and like walked around and like showed how the boot camp was going and stuff like that. So if you get a chance to watch it, I know you're military-esque buff guy. I think you'd enjoy that, Tyler, if you get a chance.
I actually just finished watching Band of Brothers.
Oh, did you?
Like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I thought I recognized that guy. I didn't make that connection. I didn't know it was him, but I was like, it definitely looked familiar.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Band of Brothers for me is usually like a 1 year at least type of thing, like rewatch for me. I don't know what it is. It's probably the the old guy me is like, oh yeah, I gotta figure out either smoking meats or learn about World War II. So chose World War II. So our biggest star by far in this whole movie is Jennifer Aniston. She is now a big film star, does a lot of rom-coms and comedies and things like that. Before then, she was famous and known for Friends. I know that you're a big Friends person.
Oh, yeah.
Any input on that? I've never seen Friends. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's the original How I Met Your Mother. Like, it's, How I Met Your Mother is in a bar, Friends is in a coffee shop. It's otherwise very similar.
Yeah.
And I know you like How I Met Your Mother. I don't remember the first time I ever watched Office Space. I don't remember why I watched Office Space the first time, but it might have been because Jennifer Aniston was in it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, she was attractive. She was on Friends. Like she was a big star in the '90s with Friends and everything. And I'm sure that was probably one of the reasons why I watched Office Space the first time, was probably on Comedy Central. Like, oh, a movie, Jennifer Aniston. Like, that's likely how I watched it the first time. So
You've never seen Friends?
Yeah, no, Bill, I've never seen Friends. I know like the the phraseology, like I've heard people say pivot like 1,000 times. I think you've used that on me a couple times, Ryan.
Oh, is that what that's from?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Friends.
Poo in the shoe is another famous phrase from there. The other thing Jennifer Aniston is known for is her hairstyle was called the Rachel. That was the name of her character on the show. Big popular thing, I guess, back then. I don't know. I don't have hair, so I don't know.
all the ladies wanted the Rachel haircut.
Yeah. Yep. It
Back
was
when you did have hair, you did have the Rachel though. So
I wish I did.
Is that just real straight, or what's considered a Rachel?
I'm not even sure.
I'll tell you what, through the power of Googles.
Yeah.
Find a picture.
I think it's just straight blonde hair with a part down the middle. It was the Rachel. I don't know.
Oh, so how her hair was in Friends.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I-
Because that was her character name. Tyler was Rachel.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah,
Yep.
that was and it still is a very popular hairstyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, per the Googles, the iconic layered short length haircut.
Shoulder length, yeah.
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 So, like I said, she's kind of known for nowadays is the the rom-coms and comedies. One of my favorite movies that she's in is We Are the Millers. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Bruce Almighty, The Breakup, Marley and Me. So like a lot of, like I said, rom-coms and stuff like that. By far came out on top of more famous than most anybody else in this movie.
You know how a lot of movies will have like a surprise person? Of course, campy, it's a movie, but
Yeah.
oh, wow, this, look who it is or whatever. Was she supposed to be that person? Maybe that's why she wasn't in like the marketing.
I'm not sure. I remember seeing something in the special features that they wanted some other chick for it, and Jennifer Aniston took the role because she wasn't getting as much film work as she wanted at that time. She was popular in Friends, wanted to be in more films, but wasn't getting the roles that she wanted. And I think she just took this as like, fine, I'll take whatever I can get, and took the roles. So
Okay. It just seemed like, well, if she was so famous, you think they would use her for the marketing, especially, the female actress and the,
yeah,
like,
in hindsight, they probably could have changed her role a little bit even more to make her a bigger character.
Yeah.
Because even with her big name, they didn't maybe use her role as much as they could have. in the
Sure.
movie, so.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm sorry, we cut you off, Bill. What were you saying?
I was just going to interject and argue and say that Stephen Root is probably just as big, but jokingly, because obviously he's just like a voice actor and yeah.
I would think that to our male audience, Stephen Root is probably the most recognizable. But-
Over Jennifer Aniston for sure.
right. But
Not quite as attractive, maybe.
Yeah.
But
It depends on what role he's in. I mean, a belly button showing Bill Dauterive could argue it differently,
sure.
So we have our boss, our iconic boss of the movie. Gary Cole plays Bill Lumbergh. He was a working actor and is a working actor. He's more famous for TV shows and stuff like that, for smaller parts on movies. One of the things that I had known and recognized him for, and I was like, oh crap, I didn't realize it until I was looking at his IMDb. But if you guys ever seen, it was early 90s, the Brady Bunch movie. They had made a Brady Bunch movie.
Oh, really?
And a very Brady sequel.
I remember the name. I don't remember seeing it.
Who was he in that?
He was Mike Brady. He was the dad.
Oh,
It's very slapsticky. It's very like, don't do that, and like they play it very straight. The premise of those movies is that they take the Brady Bunch TV show and they put them and drop them in modern day, but like in the 90s, and they're still dressed in bell bottoms and stuff like that. And everybody thinks they're weird, but it is absolutely hilarious. If you get a chance to see those movies, they're really great. I think they're on. Last time I saw them were on Prime. I have them on DVD, but they're really, really good.
I would say it's crazy how the marketing kind of boned him, because I think even if you hadn't seen Office Space, the character Bill Lumbergh is quoted by anyone and everyone who has ever worked in some sort of, not even just cubicle job, just any kind of mundane, like corporate situation. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's his monotone delivery,
What's
cadence, and
happening?
everything has just been quoted.
I think I had heard every single one of his quotes, probably every line in that movie,
Oh yeah.
through the ether
Oh, yeah.
before.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
that's
had
my
heard,
point.
You know, before, yeah. I know. I'm just agreeing with
Yeah,
you. I think
yeah.
that I want to say probably half of that movie I already knew the plot, even though I'd never seen it. You know, the heist part was super interesting. You know, like the taking the money thing. That I had no idea. That was completely new. But like all the little quotable moments, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with both of you. Like anytime that you kind of want to get like maybe even like a coworker just to kind of do something that you don't want to do, like, yeah, hi, I was wondering if you can help me with this, and they're like, fudge, like I don't want to do
That would
it.
be great.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Let me I don't mean to segue there, Brandon,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
did you guys because of the Bill Lundberg character and because of the I guess the whole scene and fit and feel of this movie, has any of you guys had a cubicle job before? I think Tyler, you and I, the closest we got was Sam's Club, which is pretty dang corporate, and
Oh,
Not
and
very
well,
we
no,
have
that was
we
that was retail.
I mean, it's real retail, but we had to deal with Bill Lundberg type
Oh,
characters.
I
where
had
it's
a
just
corporate
like,
job. I worked in a corporate office.
yeah, yeah. I guess
I
that's
had
my
my own
question. Is
cubicle.
like,
I mean,
yeah, how was that? Because I've never had a cubicle job before. The closest I ever came was back in college. We did a 5-part miniseries called Mortal Kombat in the Workspace. So we shot 5 episodes of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, like just working in a cubicle office, and it was just
oh, I remember that.
yeah, it was just weird being in this like sea of bland gray cubicles. Like, what is that experience like, Tyler?
Mind numbing. But also it, as somebody who had not worked in a corporate environment before that, for the first probably 6 months, it fascinated me, you know, because all that stuff was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was
It was like
so-
an archaeological dig.
Sort
like You
of.
were just like,
yeah, it was very alien, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm interested by stuff like that, at least things that are like alien to me. And so I enjoyed it until I realized why people hated it. And then I hated it. But I don't know, because when I was a real little kid, my dad was a business guy. He was like the quintessential 80s, 90s like business guy. He's an electrical engineer, but ended up going into the sales side so he could design electrical components and then also sell them. He could he could sell to engineers, you know, and so that was a very useful skill. And so he flew them all over the country and stuff. And that's what I wanted to be. You know, I'm like, oh, I want to be like my dad, you know, and he had, you know, had to dress, you know, the part and everything. That was before business was a lot more casual. You did wear a suit and tie all the time and had a briefcase, all the business accessories and that kind of stuff. And I thought that was awesome, you know, because I didn't have to deal with it. You know, it was just like this, you're looking up at, you know, the something that was at a higher stature, you know, than where you were. And, you know, and I didn't work in anything like that until I was in my 30s. And so then I was like, this is cool. You know, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
You want to be part
what
of
kind
that,
of
like,
weird child were you?
part of that big
pretty weird.
corporation. You want to be part of the big
Yes.
company, and then you get there and you're like,
You're just, you're a cop.
I'm just walked on like everything else. Like
Exactly. That's basic. Yes, exactly that. So now if you had power,
oh yeah,
you know, that's how everybody, I think, kind of perceives.
we're
You
gonna
know,
put 4 people right underneath you.
What would you say
Right.
you do here?
Yeah.
and it's fun. That part made me laugh because like at the end there, I was like sticking it to this place, and it just that really because I was just like, man, that was like me. I tried my best to do fucking nothing, you know.
That's the best thing about office spaces. Like even if you never worked in an office, if you never worked in a cubicle, it's so relatable in so
Yes.
many ways. The car scene when they're all getting to work, like everyone's commuted,
yeah.
everyone's been in traffic. You know, you don't have to work in an office to hate aspects of your job and everything, and it's just so relatable in so many ways. We'll keep talking about that, I'm sure. But
Yeah. No, I love it.
That's yeah.
Brandon,
Super
did you
important.
ever have a cubicle or office type job, or has it always been?
So technically, my current job, we start in cubicles. It is, as Tyler described, a gray space of nothingness. So, I mean, I've heard people, and not really at my job, but there was beyond like the hierarchy of like, okay, who's my boss and who's whatever. It is kind of I've heard like very high school esque, where like there's certain cliques and,
Oh, absolutely.
and certain things like that as
That
well.
shocked me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, because I don't know. Again, it was probably because I'd put it sort of on a pedestal, even if it was subconscious.
Yeah,
you know. But I'd been in other jobs where you'd seen cliques. I mean, that's common, but I didn't expect it there.
Yeah.
You know, which was naive of me. You know, and then I'm just like, oh, this is this bad. Oh, okay. You know, and then I don't know. I guess I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I enjoy it. This is why we're here. We're here to talk, right?
No.
Yeah, no.
Except for Bill.
I mean, well, he is dressed like the boss today. So,
Yeah.
so we had mentioned him earlier, but Stephen Root is another guy that we are going to be seeing in this movie quite a bit. Who, we talked about is always has some type of funny voice or a certain character, whatever movie he's in, TV show. He's Bill in King of the Hill. If you've seen Dodgeball, he plays another thick-glassed individual. He does a lot of voice work as well beyond kind of just King of the Hill. One thing that he kind of mentioned in some interviews regarding this movie in retrospect, he goes, I always try to put like some affectation or some kind of characteristic that people can kind of like point to, like, oh, you're just like that person, or you're just like that. I don't know if you guys paid attention to, but he's got his tie, he's got a little like grease stain like right in the middle, and like around his collar is like very like greasy and meaty. So he always tries to like play up whatever version of whatever character he is. But one of the great character actors of our time, other movies that he's probably known for is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. Oh, yeah. Like I said, Dodgeball, just a smattering of movies. So, yeah.
His character in Oh Brother, it just came back. He's the blind guy that was the recording artist, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You speak into the can.
Yeah. I just love how he's like holding his cane too, and he's like,
Yeah.
That was some mighty fine pecking and singing, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, for us guys, I think probably more memorable than Jennifer, except for Brian.
Yeah.
Brian's all about that Jennifer.
He's
Do you
a-
still have
he's a-
posters of her on your wall?
No, I never
In
had
your
a single poster. So.
Yeah.
Just magazines under your bed.
I just had all the stuff to set the building on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they told me.
That's the last straw.
Should Brian give some exposition as to what that means?
One of my hobbies is fireworks. I've always loved fireworks and played with fire my whole life. As soon as I could, I did. So, built.
Except now he's actually professional with it and does a
Yeah.
great job.
I've
And
worked on a few fireworks shows and build my own rockets. Mine go boom. So
really should have been on the one for October Sky.
yeah, October Sky was another great movie from '99 that would have been fun to talk about.
Just to paint the picture, like he says, he always played with fire. Like we were weird and played with fire. Like one of my favorite stories is, those old Razor scooters. We decided to turn one into, Ghost Rider, the character from Marvel. We're like, I think if we saturate the back wheels with spray paint and we can light it on fire, and then you can leave a line of fire down the street like Ghost Rider, it works.
Both of you guys at the same time. It works.
I think we both told that same story that same way a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we did a lot of stuff we shouldn't have, and you know what? Never got in trouble. But it's like that. It was weird stuff like that. We're like, oh, like the hacky sacks on fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, plenty of things with.
It's probably a good
accelerants
thing I
and-
wasn't here during the time you guys were doing that, because I probably would have been like, I'm gonna go find something else to do.
We wouldn't be your friend anymore.
Pretty much. I just want to wrap up this kind of like short like synopsis of actors and characters just real quick. Like I had spoken before, huge ensemble cast. John C. McGinley plays one of the Bobs. He's most known for playing Dr. Cox in Scrubs. We had talked about prior to the show starting about Dietrich Bader. He's the guy who plays Lawrence. He's the cool brother with the mustache and the mullet. So
such a glorious mullet.
Oh, I know. And he actually pulls it off really well.
The mustache was a little cheesy, but the mullet was perfect.
Yeah, for sure. He was known for the Drew Carey Show before Office Space. One of my personal favorites, and this for me, Bill and Brian, we all graduated high school together. But Napoleon Dynamite, he's the sensei. He's like, bow to your sensei.
I knew I recognized that guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, Tyler, that's the character I was gonna bring up. His name's Rex Kwon Do.
I thought his voice sounded familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to, when I used to go into the office, like some Fridays during the wintertime in Colorado, I would go in my PJs, and they're like kind of big baggy penguin printed PJ type of things. And my boss one day, that's what he's like, dude, you look like Rex Kwon Do. And I never, like, he was giving me crap for coming in with PJs, and it's like, dude, it's snowy out. It's a Friday. I'm gonna come in and be all relaxed. But I guess I was Rex Kwon Do from then on. That was his jujitsu or whatever training school in Napoleon Dynamite. If you don't remember, Tyler.
Yeah.
Yep. He's also, if you're an animated fan, he does the voice of Batman in Brave and the Bold. So Batman reference there for you. David Herman, who plays Michael Bolton, who's not related. It's just a coincidence. Was on Mad TV before this. There's actually a famous story of him wanting to be in this movie, and he threw like a mental breakdown fit in the middle of Mad TV just so he can get off the show, so he can be fired to go on to this movie. And it worked. So
Whoa.
Yep. Ajay Naidu, I believe I'm saying his name correctly.
Say both of his names.
Huh?
Say both of his names.
Ajay Naidu?
And the character he plays.
Samir Nahinijar.
It's funny, if you go on IMDb, they don't put his last name on IMDb.
Oh, really?
So how do you even spell that?
Yeah. Not going to work here anymore.
Not going to work here anymore.
But he is a working actor, and for the lack of a better term, I kind of coined him as a really kind of an ethnic actor. If you look at his IMDb, like every TV show that he's on, he plays a version of some Middle Eastern character. So he has been a working actor for a very long time. One thing that I thought was cool about him that was in the movie that they had mentioned in the bonus features is there's this scene where they're all kind of getting drunk and having a good time, and Mike Judge is like, he knew he was a breakdancer. He's like, you should breakdance, and he's like, I don't know if that's my character. And he goes, no, that is your character.
That's awesome.
I think I got all my dance moves from Peter, unfortunately.
Oh,
not
yeah,
him.
I've seen you.
The little
Yeah.
groove, yeah. That's my dance moves.
Finishing up here, we've got Orlando Jones makes a brief appearance as a fake magazine salesman. Well, not really fake, but he's a fake crackhead selling magazines.
I lied.
Yep.
Ex-crackhead.
So
I totally forgot he was in this too until he made his appearance.
Yep, same. Mike Judge snags a role in here for himself. He had a hard time finding somebody playing the manager of Tchotchkes. So there's a story that he tells about how he was like envisioning that manager. He saw another manager at Kinko's, and I guess some woman had set down a drink that they were working with, like right next to kind of his desk, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to move that. And like moved it for her, and he's like, yeah, we're just not going to do that here, and like had like really deep eye contact with her, and he's like, this guy's an a-hole. So that's kind of how he plays the character within the movie, talking about Jennifer Aniston's Flair. So but there are like I said, a lot of other character actors in here. We'll hopefully touch upon them when we're talking through, but at this point in time, I think we're going to stop and break for a quick ad. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Just a moment.
Hey, that was a fun ad, right? Welcome back. So we're gonna get into our meat and potatoes of this this movie here. The movie opens up. Basically, the guy is just kind of like fighting traffic, and does it kind of like how everybody who has an office job or anybody who has like a 9 to 5 that they want to go to, stuck in traffic. You had said earlier that like this is kind of like an everyman's type of movie. Everybody can understand the fight of like having to sit there in traffic.
Everybody's been in traffic before like that. Like it's great. He's in the right lane and the left lane starts moving, so he moves over, and then immediately once he moves, it backs up and the right lane starts moving, and then he gets back over and same thing happens. Like just the frustration, you can see it. It's perfect way to open the movie. Like just
For sure.
I remember, like when I first started commuting to some job or whatever, watching people do that, just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, trying to save yourself an extra 2 seconds that
Right.
may not happen for you.
Right, and you're just, being dangerous and using gas and
We get to see each character kind of like in their car, like in the main ensemble, the main 3 guys. The way that I saw it was like kind of like little mini vignettes of like, microcosms of their life. In a lot of interviews that I saw with Mike Judge, he talks about really small conscious choices and small details that he makes making his movies or just in general. Like I mentioned that story about the Kinko's manager. Right when Peter comes in to the office, it's something he has to deal with every day. He stares at this door handle and he's like playing like the zapping game because he knows it's going to shock him, and he just kind of is like, do I do it? Do I not? And I think it's a great detail that Mike Judge puts in there. And it's like his job sucks so much that even the door walking into his place of business is like sucks. And
gonna
like,
harm him.
yeah, trying to harm him.
Yeah.
So
The frustration on his face through the whole car scene as he walks in, and then like when he touches that handle and like he just knows it's coming, like just the look on his face, like you can just tell he hates his life.
Yeah.
well, and that's what anxiety does to you.
Yeah.
Just did little stuff like that
Wears
becomes
on you.
yeah, it becomes a big deal.
Every day is the worst day of my life.
wow, that sucks.
Damn, that's messed up.
I want to talk about that scene because that line, it's funny enough because when he said that, I thought of you and I was like, that would be, he was like, that's messed up. We see Peter kind of start his office routine. I know you had talked about you living the cubicle life. In the brief kind of cubicle life that I have been a part of, I really enjoy the fact that even as annoying as it is, the lady on the phone who's like, thank you for calling so-and-so, just a moment, thank you for calling so-and-so, just a moment. Because you're in a big office space area like that, sound really weirdly travels in those moments. At my job, at least, we have certain telephone rings when you have certain landlines, kind of going off, and it's like just constant droning.
Yeah, it was strange. Like, so I think they were trying to combat, people that would get frustrated by that type of noise. And so they had white noise generators in the office that I was working in. And sometimes they were kind of nice. And it was kind of, like a frequency, that could almost like help you sleep or whatever. What do they call it? Like white noise, and there's like what, like brown noise.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
There's all those different definitions. I don't know any of them, but
Yeah.
Not to be confused by the brown note.
right, which is a little different.
Don't want that in the office.
Just slightly
little
different.
different. But
It'd be very interesting. Everybody have brown note at the same time, though.
But it was weird how that could be like a nice thing, if it was quiet. But then other times it was like oppressive. Like it felt like it was crushing you. And like I'd have to like go to the bathroom or something because it would just make me like tweak out sometimes. It was strange.
I think the whole like again, I didn't experience this in my early work career, I guess. It's weird though, because like office spaces and cubicles, in a sense, were kind of necessary back in the day before internet and all that, because you needed a place to go and work. In contrast with nowadays, where everyone well, not everyone, but half the workforce works from home due to COVID, and then also the internet and the introduction of Riverside and all these podcasts and like streaming forums and stuff like that. But it is weird to like think about how the office and cubicle were kind of a necessity, but it's like not natural for humans to be in a petri dish like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's good to like be around peers and work with people, but in the construct of like a cubicle space, it's like you were saying, Tyler, like you with the white noise and everything, it's just kind of made you freak out, or like it's just not natural for humans to just be in like crammed in a thing like that, listening to a secretary, one moment please, like
Well, and
all day
I'm just
long
one of
every
those
day.
people that like sometimes I can you know zone out, and kind of focus on my work, but other times my brain will just pick a certain noise and hyper focus on it. So it's like, dude like 3 cubicles over is having some conversation and I'm about ready to murder him because it
You
just
can't focus on anything else.
yeah, he just
Yeah,
for
that's my
some
brain.
reason. Does that happen to you too?
Oh, that's totally
you,
my brain.
You
yeah.
totally know what I'm talking about then, like, and it's not their fault at all. But you're just sitting there like pulling your hair out, waiting for him to shut up.
Yep.
Yeah, strange. Like what did what would be in the 90s before the internet and all that, what would be the alternative to cubicles? I mean, that's like kind of the answer to huge workforce of gathering people, but man, what a sterile, unnatural way to like gather humans, and like you said, have 3 people, or someone 3 cubicles down, just like getting in your brain because of some, I don't know.
Yeah, and you used to have big open offices too. That was, if you'd ever been to, like in the 80s or early 90s, I mean, they definitely had cubicles then, of course, too, but there were also just big open offices that, I don't think I could work in one of those. That would be worse for me personally.
Are you saying like it was an open floor plan where there
Yeah.
wasn't cubicles? Oh, that's so weird, because I didn't work in these workforces, but I thought like it went from cubicles to an open workspace platform,
Just
but I
goes
guess they
back and
kind of
forth.
recycled it.
Yeah. And
Weird.
certainly there've always been like kind of cubicle stuff as far as I understand it anyway.
Weird. I always thought it was the opposite, where that was the answer to the bland cubicle, but that's kind of a bummer to hear that it was like an open platform and then it went to the cubicle scenario.
Well, I
And then I
think
guess
that
it opened up again, but
that both of them really are kind of but it's just the environment, but I think they were trying to solve the that they didn't like the big open floor plans because everybody can see what you're doing and it's loud, and and you feel like everyone's watching you constantly because they are. But I don't know, a lot of that's speculation on my part, but
yeah.
Well, immediately getting to his desk, and after he kind of does his little routine a little bit, where he's greeted by our favorite, yeah, hi. Did you get the memo on the TPS reports? And there's a whole rigmarole about, several bosses of his giving him crap about his TPS reports, and even his coworkers like, hey, I heard you are having a hard time
Did you
with
not
your
get that
TPS
memo?
report. Yeah, exactly. I thought it would be kind of cool. I don't know if you guys know this. Have you heard other people using in pop culture TPS reports? I have kind of some examples.
I have heard that, and I'm like, that's what that's from. At that job that I had, people would joke about that, and I was like, it must be like some
You
industry
don't have TPS reports. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, yes, but like I was like, this must be some like related industry thing that I'm just not privy to, So I'm just like, ha ha ha, I realized like that they were joking and that it was, but I didn't realize that it was just a movie quote.
Yeah.
Tyler got fired because he didn't do his job. He was trying to find the TPS reports the whole entire time. Every day he went in, he was trying to find the TPS reports and couldn't find them.
No, I got fired because I got so tired of that job. I took a chicken wing and put it in a jug of milk and put it up in the HVAC thing in the break room. And they spent $10,000 thinking it was the plumbing that was the issue. No, I don't know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, statute of limitations is passed on that too. You think I talk about this shit if it hasn't been at least 10 years?
The thing is, guys,
that's
everybody
genius.
that's listening, is we don't know if Tyler's telling the truth or not. We'll never know, except for that company that spent $10,000.
Yeah.
I don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. The milk grew into a gelatinous goo and took over the whole entire
God, that's
cubicle
gross.
office.
Well, beyond kind of phraseology and like kind of being in like the, poking fun with your buddies, TPS reports have actually been used in other pop culture references.
What I'd give to never have to file another TPS report.
You do know it's a TBS report, right? Trans-Bureau Synopsis.
What'd I say?
A TPS report.
Old habits. Weird.
Mike Judge recycled it and used it in a King of the Hill episode. It was used in Lost in the first season. Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's even in Star Wars and The Mandalorian. They reference it in episodes of NCIS.
Wow.
And even in video games. So they talk about it in Doom, Borderlands 2. There's a game called Black Mesa, I guess, that's really popular as well.
Those TPS reports have gotten progressively worse. Hard to find good help these days. Yes, about that. We're going to need you to come in this weekend. What?
One of my favorite references that use about TPS reports. I don't know if you guys remember this commercial, but there was a linebacker named Terry Tate, and he was the Office linebacker, and it was a Super Bowl commercial, and he basically was keeping people in line. So anytime people go to the water cooler or they're not doing anything that they're supposed to be doing, he'd run and tackle them and violently hurt them. So one of the times he hit somebody, he's like, "You didn't do your TPS report right." Woo! And, just standing over him. I have the commercial here, which, we can throw in the links below if you want to watch it, what I'm referencing to, but it's Super Bowl ad spot that continued on after, but it is really, really funny if you get a chance to watch it.
In the behind the scenes or your research, Brandon,
Yeah.
is there a explanation of what TPS's acronym is?
Ooh, I thought I had it here. I don't think so. That it's never explicitly said, but I do know that it is
not in the movie, but I would imagine someone like Mike Judge actually has the explanation, the acronym out there. You know what I mean?
I've seen people use something pointless sheets or something just joking about it after the fact.
The pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I was hoping to allude to this towards the end of the podcast, but as I've always said, hey, if you want to add in the comments below what you think it is, there might be a prize for you at the end. So if you can find an interview or evidence of what Mike Judge wanted for that TPS report, we'll send something your way.
We'll send you a memo to come in on the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
When they joke about in my office, they joke about the memo thing, and of course they'd reference that, the TPS thing. But because memos were really important, and I think that's why he, included that. But that would get frustrating though, the way, because everyone would ask you about stuff like that, especially if you really did, you're on, vacation or whatever, and you really did miss something, and it really kind of would up your day. And then everybody would give you grief about it. And I don't know, I laughed at that part because I'm okay, that's that for most people who've worked in an office environment, that's pretty relatable.
For sure. And the fact from hearing it from 4 or 5 different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Next, we have the introduction to the infamous printer. You can see Samir is already really, angry at this thing, and he's already cussing at it. I really related to that myself as being a relatable thing. Just some corporate thing that is used every day that is not fixed, and everybody knows that it's a piece of crap and it needs to be fixed, but for some reason just corporate has decided it's not broke enough to fix.
Or it's just user error. You can admit it.
Yeah. Well, immediately into Peter's day, he needs to end up leaving because he's had it, and you could tell he's only probably been there for about 30 minutes.
They keep showing his watch. He keeps looking at it.
Yeah,
I can't stand this. I got to take a break.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, it's not even lunch yet, and they're like, all right, fine, whatever, we'll go. So they end up going to Tchotchke's, which is a Bennigan's knockoff, and they end up meeting up with this overzealous waiter who's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, exactly.
Does Bennigan still exist? Because that was a great reference.
Say that again.
Does Bennigan still exist?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I've been to a Bennigan's and they turned into an El Tapatio was the one over by our area.
By that Denny's?
Yep, exactly.
Is that Denny's still there?
Denny's is still there. Yeah.
I know they still exist, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd eat that
Denny's
anymore.
will never go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill's right. Denny's will never go away.
Well, I mean, there was Breakfast King is gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
I thought that place would be there till,
I know that place was
floating out in space after the Earth was
It's
gone.
funny you say Bennigan's because it looks exactly like a Bennigan's from what I remember.
does.
Like
Yep.
those light fixtures and the overuse of plants, like
Yeah.
house plants everywhere. It's like, this is a restaurant. Like,
Like all the brass like fixtures.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I don't know why I didn't make that connection, but yes, it is absolutely a Bennigan's.
The guy who plays the waiter, though, at the knockoff Bennigan's, God, he played
his role's
role
pretty good. Yeah.
so good
It was
because I wanted to
perfect,
punch him
yeah.
in the face immediately. It's like it's a very punchable face.
Everybody has worked with a guy like that, and everybody has gone to some place where someone like that worked.
Oh yeah, he tries way too hard for the customer's sake. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he also then repeats, line that was said earlier. It's like, oh, it looks like somebody's having a case of the Mondays, which I don't know if that was like a phrase before this movie came out, but like I feel like kind of like we were talking about TPS reports, like that's a phrase that I hear all the freaking
Looks
time
like
now.
somebody's having a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
It probably was a phrase before, but the way Nina says it in that first scene in the office, I think that intonation is how people quote it. Looks like somebody's having a case of the Mondays. Like,
yeah.
I think that's where the quote comes from. Is more the tone, even if it was a phrase before that.
It's so droll, and it's I don't know, there's just something so irritating. And I know that it's said for that reason. But, when people would say that unironically, I mean, it's just like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Mm-hmm. But this is also the first time that we as an audience, but it seems like Peter kind of goes to tchotchkes for a very specific reason. Though we see Jennifer Aniston's character, Joanne, there, and he's like, oh, this is the girl, right? So it seems like that's the only reason why they go to tchotchkes is because he wants to kind of check out Jennifer Aniston. They also kind of like how I said, they kind of have like a lot of running jokes in here with the TPS reports. I love that they kind of go back to that, like after he had already seen the scene of them talking about the TPS reports, and the guys bring it up again at tchotchkes, like, yeah, what do I hear about this TPS reports? And I think in this movie and in general, Mike Judge does a really good job of like bringing back kind of like old jokes and having running jokes. We'll see that quite a bit throughout the movie. Part of that running joke is they're talking about Peter's then girlfriend, Anne. And he's like, yeah, I get the feeling that she's cheating on me. And then everybody's like, yeah, I know what you mean. So this is the first time that they say this joke, and which will be a continuing running joke. But his girlfriend convinces him to go to a hypnotist. One thing that I like about that Mike Judge does here in this movie, and then like some other scenes here, it seems like he sets this joke up like as like it would be like a comedy joke, like at a stand-up, where he says like, I'm gonna go see this hypnotist, right? And they're like, okay, cool. What's cool about this hypnotist? That's the same place that Anne went, right? And she did it for to lose weight. And they're like, she's anorexic, right? And he's like, yeah, he's really good. I forgot that joke, and I heard that, and I just was starting laughing. I was like,
I thought that was clever too. Yeah, that was good.
We get back to them fighting with the printer. There's another iconic line that's spoken here, and I say this all the time at my current work, is they're sitting there fighting the printer, and he goes, PC load letter, what the does that mean? And anytime that I'm struggling at work and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, or like I see some error on my computer screen, I'm like, PC load letter, what the fuck does that mean? So I thought that was a great line, because that is something you would see in like a printer. Is like, okay, there's paper jam, but then it has like some
It's
error
trying
code.
to help you, but you just don't know what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Help me to help you.
Yeah.
Help me to help you.
Might as well say error code 4. Like,
Right. There's I forgot what comedian it says, like when you have a check engine light, it might as well just say uh-oh, because like, what does that mean?
I remember like we always would have problems with our printer, but it was usually just small things, and it's like it really was usually just operator error, because that thing was kind of complex, because it was like I don't remember what the term was for it, but it was like a multiplexing printer or whatever. It was all stacked together and it weighed 900 pounds, and it was difficult to get it to pull from the right tray, and then you'd have a paper jam. As long as you could find the paper jam, then you could just usually it would feed after that. But I mean, sometimes people would just be like, I don't know, it's just not working, and you're like, And you see, usually that meant that they wanted you to go help them.
Yeah.
Which was fine. But I mean, sometimes, yeah, it would give you a weird air. And if you had seen that before, you know, you would know, oh, that's this, but you didn't actually know what it meant. It might as well have been in Chinese, you know?
For sure.
What is the I guess engineering behind these things? Because they're so complex. Like you said, they're like 900-pound, like weird collating whatever, but they never work. They're like multi-thousands of dollars machines, and every single office has one or two of them that just don't work.
And I think some of the ones that are like that are just ancient. And nobody, you know, it's just like, well, this thing's such a piece of Well, it's from like 1987, and it's been serviced like 4 times by people making $4 an hour, you know? And so maybe when it was new, it worked okay, but now it's barely hanging on. And then everybody, you know, people turn away and people start like elbowing it and kicking it and stuff. And so it's all up, you know, and
out of toner. It's out of toner.
I guess that's what I was alluding to. Is I think they're like great pieces of engineering, but they don't work because there's always that guy that's like kicking it or like scanning their ass on it, or you know what I mean? Like, like they would work if they were treated right, but
filling it up with Mountain Dew.
Are you speaking from experience?
No.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, I mean, I guess my personal corporate conspiracy theory would be like similar to like the like McDonald's what is it, like
the ice cream machines?
Oh yeah, no, that's true too. Like obsolescence.
No, it's broken.
Yeah, oh, it's broken, can't use it. So I guess I have to call the technician, so that way they have to service it, and that way they get money. So that's just my corporate conspiracy.
I'm sure
there.
that that's absolutely the case with a lot of that stuff. I don't think that was a thing with most appliances, office appliances, and you know, big until probably the last 25 years, 30 years. But yeah, no, that's absolutely a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler, you and I did some stuff like that at Sam's Club where the thing was irritating us, so we just jammed it with more thing or whatever it is, and then all like the paper compactor or whatever. Like we would just like egg on the issue that was happening until it like bound up, and then we walked away.
So yeah, warning, too much thing in the thing. It's like, well, then put more thing in the thing.
Yeah, and then it starts smoking and sparking, and then you just walk away.
And I remember Ryan Tischler and I, he was shredding a bunch of TPS reports, but like he was shredding a bunch of, I don't remember what they were, but it was like area like inventory reports or something, and it was hundreds of pages, and he had to, and it was that old you know, the paper that had that would feed through those old dot matrix printers that
corrugated, like in the sides.
Yeah, and you could, it had the I just don't know the terms, but it had the spool that you know would pull it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That type of paper, and it was all connected.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just hundreds and hundreds of pages. And Ryan was just, you know, because they told him you need to shred all of this. You can't throw it away. You know, don't throw a match in the dumpster. You know, you need to shred all of it. And we had a big industrial shredder. And so he's feeding it into this thing. And I said, more. He's like, they told me I can't put more than like 4 sheets in it. And I'm just like, more. And so I eventually had like 6 or 7 piles going simultaneous, just being drawn into this thing. And you could see that the heat level is like going up. We didn't give a shit.
It's not my shredder.
No. And it finished like 8 times faster than it would have, you know, otherwise.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right? This next part of it like kind of sets up a question that is another iconic scene. They start talking about it at the office, but you know, Peter, he goes, you know what, when I was in, you know, school, they asked me what would I do with $1 million, and he's like, I would do nothing, you know, I'd probably just sit there and do absolutely nothing. And then Samir's like, I'd probably invest it, you know. And you know, Michael Beaton, the, you know, kind of anti-establishment guy, he's like, that thing's a bull crap question. And he goes, they just say that just to, you know, to mess with you, basically. Lawrence eventually he asks Lawrence, is like a really cool down-to-earth guy, his best friend, he goes, well, what would you do with $1 million, man? He's like,
2 chicks at the same time.
Yep. Which, you know, I feel like especially for us, that was kind of like our answer for like a lot of things. It was like, oh, what would you do? It was like 2 chicks at the same time. So
I was wondering like what is the conversion rate? So I just had to Google it just now because like
yeah.
it's kind of funny for us being in 2025 hearing what would you do with $1 million? I don't know, down payment on a house.
Yeah.
Because like houses are million, 2 million, 3 million.
Yeah, it's
I
not. You
guess
can't even buy one house.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like $1 million. It's like the Austin Powers $1 million. Like it's just
Yeah.
it means nothing nowadays. But I guess the equivalency now
Is it
is
2 million?
pretty much 2 million. It's like
Yeah.
$1.9 million. So it's like doubled since 1999. But still, like, and nowadays, what can you do with $2 million?
Yeah.
Some things.
Well,
Some
if
things.
well, if you had $1 million, what would you do?
You could be an ad
Nothing.
for your show.
There you go. There could totally be an ad for
Sponsored.
it.
Sponsored.
Yeah, anybody listening who wants to be, wants to be an ad sponsor, hey, we'll take you. So once they're kind of in the apartment there, they're, they talk about, oh, what am I going to do with $1 million? And he's like, man, I just know that Lumberg's going to come and ask me to stay the weekend, which seems like a very like common thing that he asks him to do. And Lawrence, being the cool, like, cool guy he's like, he's going to ask you at the end of the day, you should just dip out and try to dodge him, and he's like, that's actually a really good idea. So Peter kind of does his Mission Impossible thing at the next day at work and tries to, dodge Lumberg. They start that scene off kind of with Peter talking to Milton.
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine that, like, he's like, if I can tie up my phone through the whole day, there's no way that he can ask me. So I imagine he probably spent like 8 hours that day just like
I have to talk with Milton.
Yeah, having to talk with Milton.
I love filmically how they shoot that because it's just they just start on Milton talking to we don't know who on the other side of the line, and he's just doing his Milton rambling. And I just love how the camera just goes over the cubicle and then it transitions over to Peter. And it's just like, I agree. It's like he probably started his day on that phone call with him and just let it drag out. And, but yeah, filmically wise, that was such a brilliant choice to just do that little bait and switch there.
Yeah, that was a great shot. Writing story wise, I know Mike Judge had said that he based Milton off a real person that he used to work with when he was an engineer, and used to talk very similar to that. And one day he's like, you know what, I'm bored, I think I'm just gonna go talk to the guy. And like within like the first 2 minutes he instantly regretted talking to him because he just would like ramble. Stephen Root, who plays him, there's a line that he says that is pretty iconic as well. He's like, there was squirrels out the window and they were married. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you know if that was scripted or if that was Steve Root improvising? Because that was like,
I think he improvised it because the reason why I say that is because he had said the reason why he said that is because Milton, he's obviously the 4-year-old virgin type, right? So the reason why the squirrels were married is because the squirrels were doing this outside the window, and that's the only reason why you can do that.
Yeah.
So
they were married.
Yeah, the squirrels were having sex outside the window.
I love, again, I go back to he's probably my favorite actor throughout this whole thing, but I just love how like I wonder if the Coke bottle glasses were always part of the character design, whether they were or not. But like I can only imagine the minute that Steven put them on, he just became Milton. You know what I mean? Like every good actor loves a piece of set design or a prop that just brings them into the character, and I just would love to
talisman.
Yeah, exactly. It basically just awakens the Milton inside of him or whatever. But yeah, a line like the squirrels being married, I can only imagine that was him just riffing and it had to go in the edit or whatever. But
for sure. I mean, there's just when he speaks, he just like, because that there are just so many throwaway lines, I can just imagine him just like kind of like having like a repertoire and just like I'm sure there's some archival footage somewhere. He's just like
I'd love to see that. Like, I remember watching it and like turning it up and turning on subtitles, and like the subtitles cut out. You only get like parts of it, but like I love like just hearing what's he mumbling like.
I want to see the lunch breaks on set and just seeing him just probably still in character.
Stay in character. And just like,
stay in character going up to get his catering. You know what I mean? Like how many extra lines just didn't make it in the film that he was just on set with,
I was told they would have chicken fingers for catering. And
Yeah.
they would have
And
ranch
today,
dressing.
and today it's curry. And last time we had curry, half the set got sick, and I don't want to get sick this day because I have a big performance I got to do.
Doesn't it sound like a Ryan character?
It's totally Ryan.
Do you guys want to explain?
Oh, we have a friend who would generate characters like this, you know, and he could just snap into these characters and maintain those characters for minutes, you know, and I don't know how he could do it, you know, when everyone was cracking up, and I mean, he was fantastic at that.
It's weird, man. I miss that guy because like improv is not my strong. I like acting, but I hate improv because I can't. I'm not quick.
Yeah, I'm not
with things. But
either.
every time I was around Ryan, whatever his aura was just fed into me.
Oh, it does
whenever
bleed.
Whenever he would get into his characters, him and I would just riff for freaking hours about nothing. We were just in this weird like state of being. People would maybe be around us, maybe not, but we were just in our little characters' heads. But
yeah, there certainly are people, and he's one of those guys that he just has this energy about him, you know, and it's just infectious. And you know, he's such a good dude and so funny, you know.
And then he would do the Ryan dip and just disappear.
Yeah, and he was it was interesting about him is that, you know, if you were in like a public place or whatever with him, and he would just be gone. And you know, and he just had like you know, he'd get to a point where he's like, okay,
yeah, I'm done.
my role, you know, for this particular event has concluded.
Irish goodbye, right?
Exactly.
It was like Irish goodbye to 1,000.
Yeah,
because you know how Irish
would just be
goodbye
gone.
is just
Like,
like,
we wouldn't know what happened to him.
and then they would, you would seriously be talking at a bar, turn away to like talk to someone else, turn back, and he's just gone. Like he did the Batman on you.
Yeah, there's like an outline just fading away.
Exactly.
Well, you had made the comment of like, I wonder if his glasses bill about like, you know, how they decide to make him thick. Apparently Mike Judge, every time they saw the Milton character, he's like, make him thicker, make him thicker, make him thicker, you know. And they got to a certain point where Stephen Root had to wear contacts just so he can barely see outlines with the glasses. And Stephen Root has said that like this, especially in the scene where he's like trying to enter like Bill Lumberg's office, he couldn't see anything, so he had to memorize where the door was.
Is that why he was shuffling like
Yes.
just inch at a time?
He shuffles up to the door like,
Yep.
like he can't
And
see.
and the way he's just scanning the office with his head.
Yeah, just kind of.
Yeah. That's awesome that you found that little insight.
That is
Like I was
hilarious, 'cause
always
he's
wondering.
looking up so much. He's probably trying to look under the glasses.
You're probably
Yeah, maybe.
Where do I need to walk?
That's good that the costume department actually gave him context though, because you always like a lot of those times if something's like that, they just put that on the actor and they just have to deal with it.
Hope you don't get too bad of a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or like when they're in like a costume, sometimes they don't even get like a little like video feed. They're just in the costume blind and they have to just memorize their steps or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. I wonder how much his eyesight suffered from having corrective contact lenses for a
Oh, God, yeah.
Coke bottle. Like, can't be good.
For sure.
But we all benefited from it.
Yes. The movie cuts immediately to the next scene where this is what I wanted to talk about with you, is the hypnotist, and where he says like, you know, today's, you know, the worst day of my life, if you want to elaborate on that.
I just thought it was funny. He's talking, just kind of being interviewed by the hypnotist or whatever, and he's like, yeah, just, you know, every day is just worse than the day before, and like, so every day that you see me, it's the worst day of my life. And the hypnotist is like, that's messed up. Like, kind of under his breath, but like definitely like audibly aloud. And it's like, whoa.
I enjoyed that scene because I thought of you and I was like, that would be something Brian would say. Like, that's messed up.
That's messed up.
But I love how the girlfriend Anne, she kind of like looks at the hypnotist like why would you say that?
Yeah.
I almost, because of the lines of like, I think she's cheating on you, I almost wonder if she was cheating on Peter with the hypnotist, because it was kind of like a familiar like girlfriend look.
Sure.
Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
You know, something like that. So, but the other part of this is where the hypnotist is when he's putting him under. He's saying,
Grabbing at his
grab his
chest.
chest. He's like, deeper,
Deeper and deeper. Way down. Deeper and deeper. Way down.
Which I don't know why, for some reason.
I love it. I mean,
I would say for some reason I remember you saying that it was some type of conversation.
the smallest little things and like the most bizarre memories pop into my head. I have a horrible memory until something pops in my head.
Yeah.
That's probably one of them where who knows what we were talking about, but deeper and deeper, way down, way down.
They did such a good job like blocking that scene too.
It's
like
so cheesy and like hindsight watching it again, like it was funny because like I feel like it's such hyperbole for him to be saying that every day you see me is worse and the worst day of my life or whatever. And like you could see how glum his life was and how frustrating his life was and stuff. But for him to say that, I felt like was a jump. And then but the comedic effect of it I think was awesome and stuff. But just he thinks the hypnotist is stupid and he doesn't want to go, and then his girlfriend makes him go, and like then he's just okay with it. Like I thought that was a little weird, but the scene's awesome with the hypnotist, how he puts him under and has a heart attack midway.
I just love how they didn't, because it's in the 90s. They could have easily just had him hypnotizing and then all of a sudden heart attack and then he's out. But instead they did such a brilliant job with the blocking. Like slowly he's getting more sweaty,
The
and
sweat is awesome.
There's a moment like
it's
he's
just,
holding
like,
his
beating up every like,
and they just keep getting
break,
closer and closer
they
with the
come back, and
camera.
it beads up more.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a
and like
bottle.
he's holding his chest, but not in a way like normal people like in a movie. I'm having a heart attack. He's kind of holding, and then at one point he kind of does this with his hand. You know what I mean? It's like little things like that where it's just a silly 90s comedy, but they like a scene like that with the choices right there are just so brilliantly like done in such a simple scene that it's just like it told us everything we needed to know. And then when the moment actually hits that he has the heart attack and Peter's just sitting there just blue skies and
I don't know. For me, like his face is just total like relaxed and happy. The way that his face.
It's probably
looks,
the first time you see him smile.
Yes. Yeah. But hopefully we can do this in editing. But his face to me, it kind of looks like Woody from Toy Story. Just the the laissez-faire, like the look on his face. I also liked the actor, like when he's grabbing his chest. The first time he does it, you kind of think like, oh, maybe he has some like indigestion because he's like, just and then you're
he's
like,
a big dude.
Oh God,
shouldn't have had those meatballs.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys seen him? Because I was watching it. I totally forgot about that scene. I forgot the catalyst that brings him into the Peter into this world of not caring. So that was a nice like refresh to see that scene again. But that actor, I'm like, where have I seen him before? Do you guys remember Richie Rich?
Yeah.
He was like the mad scientist in Richie Rich's lab.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Have you guys seen him in anything else? Like that's the only thing I can remember him from.
It's funny you say that because I was a Disney Channel kid, and I don't know if you guys remember the show Brotherly Love with the Lawrence brothers. He was the mechanic in Brotherly Love. So I think that show ended in '97, but there was like definitely reruns of that show on, and I was like, that guy looks familiar. Oh, it's him, but he has a toupee on. So he's a famous character actor himself. I was trying to see if I had his. I didn't put his name in the notes here, but really, really great famous actor or character actor who has been in a lot of stuff, especially like in the early 2000s and stuff like that. So
before he gets hypnotized, Peter's like, "Can you just zonk me out so I don't feel like I'm at work?" I feel like everybody's had that. Like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. I just wish I could like be done. Like, that's
Which I mean. I haven't seen the show, but Bill, I'm sure you have. Was it Severance or Severance?
Severance.
If you want to explain the premise of that show, Bill.
Nobody knows.
Fair enough.
It's like halfway through second season right now, and it's kind of like Lost, where there's just question after question after question, but in a good way. But yeah, that is the environment of. The idea, to condense it, there's outies and innies, and basically there's like an implant in your head that when you go into the office, you're this innie character, and your innie and outie know nothing about the other life that you're living. So basically when you go to work so you can make your bills, you're just this innie character living its own life in this bland sterile, like minimalistic environment, and you're like, we don't even know what they're doing. They're like collating numbers that are numbers that are intense. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a great show because there's all these questions, and it's like it's a slow burn into what it's leading up to. But yeah, it is like the epitome of that cubicle life. But you go into their office and it's only 4 of them in this huge office, but they're in one cubicle right in the center and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just the whole thing is just kind of sterile and weird. But
Kind of reminds me of Multiplicity.
I haven't seen that. I keep hearing about that.
Are you
It's a
serious?
great movie.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Character gets cloned, so he has multiple versions of himself to accomplish.
Yeah, isn't
stuff.
that's not Bacon, is it? It's
No,
Oh,
Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
yeah, Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Family Guy did an episode of it where Stewie starts cloning more of himself, and they end up with the most dumbest version of
first
the clones clone themselves.
First he just gets one, so the one can go to work and one can stay at home and be like the fun dad and good husband and stuff. And then they get another one to like do the home life and the mowing the yard and stuff or whatever. And then they get a fourth that's like just stupid. Like
I've seen the VFX breakdown of it, which is like pretty revolutionary for that came out in like mid 90s or
so.
like early 2000s.
I would guess 90s, but probably somewhere in there. It's a great movie.
One of the lines that I remember from that movie, looks like it came out in 1996. One of the lines that I remember from that movie is like the dumbest one of the versions of it, right? And he's sitting there, he's got a boot on his head, and he's shaving with a razor, and they're like, "Don't worry, we took the blades out."
I like when he takes a piece of pizza and puts it in his wallet.
Oh yeah,
he's like folding it up, like this is what I do with my pizza.
Very dumb child humor. So yeah, Peter's got this like new lease on life where he just doesn't care. He's supposed to come in on the weekend and sleeps through the whole weekend, basically. Gets a dozen voicemails from Bill Lumberg, and they all start
17.
the same. Yeah, 17, yep.
Not 15, not 12, 17.
17. And they all start, yeah, hi, yeah, hi, yeah, hi. And so Peter's just like, yeah, screw job, screw life, and, doesn't show up to work. And rather than going to work on Monday, he goes to Tchotchkes and goes to ask Jennifer's Aniston out, who's her character's name is Joanne. He's like, hey, you wanna go to lunch?
Hey, what are you doing for lunch today?
Yeah.
She starts listing off the specials.
Yep.
It's like, no, I was asking what you were doing for lunch today.
Right. Mike Judge had said that he envisioned Joanne's character as kind of like the small town beauty, basically. Like she's the prettiest girl in the small town, right? She's got that classic look, but she's kind of like the loner and the loser. So hence why she's kind of like working at Tchotchkes is kind of like this is all she expects out of her life is just kind of do like the basic stuff. So I think her line about like I love kung fu, right, is like atypical of like she's kind of got like a little bit of stoner to her a little bit. So the kung fu line as well, kind of like I could see somebody getting ripped and like I love watching kung fu.
I thought that was kind of a fun character, thing that you wouldn't have expected from her too, because it was like a Napoleon Dynamite kind of thing, like I love kung fu.
Yeah. All right, so back to the office. The Bobs are on the prowl. They're starting kind of their house cleaning stuff. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Bab.
The
Babs.
Babs.
Me and like names, I just don't pay attention to a lot of names. I did not realize they were both called Bob, which is
Well,
That's
again,
the best
no-
part.
That's
When Peter's Bob, like he's talking to
Bob.
both,
Yeah.
but he's just like addressing Bob.
yeah.
But yeah, the Bobs are on the prowl. Kind of like the opening scene, as well as with the traffic, and as well as with the different offices. I thought this was another great kind of way to kind of segment the different characters. They're being interviewed. The Smykowski character has the famous like blowing up scene where he's like, I deal with people, I'm a people person, why don't you people understand? And you could just see the Bobs like check a box for fired type of thing. And the the scene with Michael Bolton, and I'm gonna call him Dr. Cox because that's the only way I see him, is
Bob Slidell.
Bob's okay. Bob Slidell. There you go. One of the Bobs.
One of the Bobs.
Main Bob. Glasses Bob. They both have glasses. Suspenders Bob. There you go. Suspenders Bob.
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Suspenders Bob. He alludes to him being like a big Michael Bolton fan. So the actor who plays him actually, and this is like way before like you can like, Wikipedia stuff or whatever. He apparently went and bought all of Michael Bolton's discography, like listened to every record and tried to like find every special that he could that he ever did, and like really deep dived into like loving this character, right?
That's funny.
So every time that they like try to introduce the scene, he's like, oh, I like him on this album, or I did this and I liked him on that, and I thought he was cool on this, and like he just tried to give them as much like material as he could.
That's unfortunate they didn't use that.
Yeah, but like he just like he really nerds out, like, so there's like he gave him like different levels of like, I like Michael Bolton too. He's like, Michael Bolton, he's the best, So
I celebrate his whole collection.
yeah, exactly. So I thought that was like a great behind the scenes type of thing.
But you're Michael Bolton.
But when Peter gets in there and he talks to the Bobs, he's just like he is at the restaurant. He's like, Bob, let me tell you about those TPS reports, very like laissez-faire, and the Bobs are eating it up. They're like, oh, this is great. And they're really excited about, Peter's answers and stuff like this. And it ends up having to do, or leading to that, like, because of what Peter says about like, I've got 8 different bosses, Bob. If I screw up one thing, it only makes me motivated for so much, and it leads to the Bobs actually talking to Lumbergh and going, so what do you do all day? Which kind of,
I love when they turn around on Bill Lumbergh.
yeah, they flip the script on him. I thought that was like a great way to kind of like flip the lens on them, or on Lumbergh. When we first see Lumbergh, he's just towering over everybody. He's got his coffee, but there's several times throughout this movie after Peter gets his hypnosis done that he really challenges Lumbergh. At one point, he tells him like, I got the meeting with the Bobs, like go away, come back later, And Lumbergh's like, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I didn't know about that. He's like, oh, they called me at home.
Yeah,
After
exactly.
Bill left him all these voicemails, like.
Yep. So, but Peter, though, he starts living his best life. He's going fishing while he's supposed to be at work. He guts a fish there. He's playing Tetris at work. He's eating Cheetos. The very iconic scene where he unscrews his cubicle and, pushes the wall over. I remember we had talked about for Comedy Central. It had been playing multiple times. I remember TV spots and like, oh, Comedy Central presents Office Space or whatever. And they'd always show you like an opening scene of like, this is Office Space, and he would push over the wall, and they would have scenes from there. But that has always been sold with this movie, like for trailers and stuff like that. It's just like anti-establishment, let's push over the wall type of thing. So I thought that was like a really good, the way that they kind of framed and blocked that was really cool. So I kind of felt bad in this moment just because I don't like people picking on other people, but Lumbergh goes and picks on Milton in between these scenes and ends up stealing his stapler, and the famous red stapler. So Milton, within this, this is my stapler.
This is my stapler.
Yeah, this is my special stapler, and it's the Swingline, and it's red. So, do you guys have you guys heard about the story about the red Swingline at all, or are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I think they only made black ones, and then after this movie came out, they're like, well, we need to make red ones now. Like,
yeah, you're right.
Really?
Legit thing that actually happened. I think it was a movie prop. They just spray painted it red, and then afterwards it was popular enough and iconic enough that Swingline came out with red.
Interesting. No, I'd never heard that.
Yeah, apparently there was some guy like in the early days of eBay who just was like making knockoffs and like making a killing, and there was such
smart.
like a high demand that Swingline's like, okay, we got to make it. The other I guess little thing you'll notice if you look at the Swingline, typically they would put their logo on top of the thing, and for the camera, the prop guys put the Swingline logo towards the camera, so Swingline themselves had to
Move their logo.
move the logo as well as make it red.
Emulate the prop.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
I definitely had a bunch of the big giant black heavy ones. Those are awesome, and they last forever. And I think everybody just lost them. You don't see those anymore. I don't think any of them broke. I think they probably all ended up thrown away or something by mistake. I'm sure I still have one somewhere, but yeah, indestructible.
Yeah.
You could not
burned down in
damage
the
those.
building. They burned down in the building.
There was a fire, and the squirrels they were married again.
Say, well, the building is gone, but the staplers are there. They're just part of the foundation of whatever they built next.
Right, melted into the foundation. Stephen Root, who plays Milton, had said that he stole one of the props and has one for himself, but for promotion for the movie, he ended up signing like hundreds of thousands of these things for like executives and other things. So he's like, don't want to see another red stapler to save save my life again, man. Like I'm so over it. Through the conversation with Peter and the Bobs and stuff like that, he finds out that his friends are going to be fired. So this kind of starts the Ocean's 11's plan that I kind of like to phrase. And Bill, this is kind of something I wanted to talk to you about because you and I had talked about it earlier about is he still hypnotized? Is he not? At this point in time, when he hears from the Bobs that, hey, your friends are going to be fired, he kind of seems to, like, from his laissez-faire attitude, to kind of like be more focused. And when he takes Michael Bolton out to the bar and he goes, I don't know if the hypnotism is worn off or I just start giving a crap about my friends. Like, he goes, I think it's bull crap. And he starts to become more vindictive. So my argument would be, based upon that line and based upon his body language and kind of the way he talks, I feel like he did slip out of the hypnotism. What do you feel?
Well, first off, it's a comedy, so I don't think it is multi-layered. But I would argue, I guess, if I was to stay on the side of he's in hypnotism the whole way, the hypnotism is not necessarily for him to be a carefree blob. It was more just for him to care more about the things that matter. So I would say he's in hypnotism the whole time, and his friends are more important to him than this company, and that's why he cares. But I would agree. I think his attitude does change, and definitely when they're at the party, not Milton's party, but what's his name?
Smikowski.
Yeah, they're at his party, and he gets word that Jennifer Aniston's character had slept with Bill Lundberg. A different Bill Lundberg, and that's when his character choices start changing and being more snappy and stuff like that. So I do feel like it did wear off eventually, but I don't think it was because of his friends getting fired. I think just life itself just started pulling him back into his old reality.
That's fair. I only mention that because like I start to feel like he focuses more on like details, that are more important to him rather than just like, if it happens,
rather than just
it happens.
floating on.
Yeah.
That was an interesting part of the plot for me. It almost felt like originally they were going to have like almost like a gag moment where something snaps him out of it in that moment. And he's just, suddenly, he's in a situation where this new personality would have been perfect, but now he doesn't have that. And so then it becomes awkward. But then they decided that I don't think we're going to do that. And then they didn't. And so then it almost is like you could see that was a plan. That's just, I don't think that that's really what happened, but it just kind of felt that way to me. Like they were setting it up to be like, this thing when he goes back to normal and then it's awkward. And then he has to kind of find it within himself without that in order to kind of, become more balanced.
Or maybe it's if we really want to make it multi-layered and more than it needs to be, maybe it's that he is in hypnosis this whole entire time, but like you were saying earlier, his life sucks so much that every day is his worst day. So even though he is in hypnotism, every day is his worst day. So slowly this now just becomes his new reality and brings him back. So maybe it's just nothing can cure the monotony of life, if we want to go that deep into it.
Well, that sounds like fun.
That's too depressing.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Wow, that's messed up. But yeah, so they start planning like their Ocean 11 style heist, and Peter takes Michael up on his scheme, and he's convincing Michael and Samir to run this virus basically, and they make a reference to Superman 3. He's like, yeah, it's the plot to Superman 3. He's like, you just still in fractions of a fraction, and one line that I really enjoy from this movie, and it seems more prevalent now that we kind of live in the world that we live in currently. But Samir's like, I don't want to do anything illegal. I don't want to go to jail, right? And Peter goes, illegal? This is America.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
But they do eventually all kind of convince each other to go ahead with their plan. The other thing I think that was really funny, that they sold Samir, and Peter was like, they get conjugal visits. He's like, conjugal visits? I'm sold.
Yeah. His character's funny. I think one of my favorite lines from him was earlier in the movie when Peter asks, what if we're still doing this when we're 50?
Yeah.
He's like, it would be nice to have that kind of job security.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so innocent and like just showing up to work and doing his job and stuff. So like, not wanting to go to jail and not wanting to do anything illegal, I think kind of plays into that just like kind of innocence factor that he has and stuff or whatever. But
and it seems like he might be, like first generation child of people who immigrated or something like that, and
doesn't want to screw up his immigration status or something or whatever.
Well,
right. Or make his parents, not proud of him.
Sure. Well, that stuff too, but also that he sees where they came from, and is like, no, this is awesome compared to where my parents came from. Like,
right.
I don't know what has gotten into you guys, but like, this is some job security that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just perspective.
No, that's great. Yeah. They end up pulling off the heist though. They do convince Samir to do it, and they do make it like slow motion. Like,
I love that scene.
Yeah, puts the floppy disk in his coat. Yeah, they're like,
behind
do
the
it
back.
all. Yeah, do it all slide, and they're like, oh yeah, I guess it's done. Like, very
That was easier than I
anticlimactic.
thought.
Yeah, Peter does have like a surprise for them after they kind of get fired at the end of the day, and they have this all-out, drag-out, like blood in, blood out type of thing, where they take the printer and they destroy it in the middle of this field, and they just go ape crap on it and just start beating the crap out of it. The gentleman who plays Samir, the stunt guy handed him the bat, and like they're starting to block out the scene. He's like, no, this is what you should do. So I don't know if you saw it, but he takes the bat and he moves Michael Bolton out of the way with the bat, and he's like, bah, 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 right? It was really important for Ron Livingston, Peter's character, to not participate in it, because he goes, I kind of wanted to like make this like a gang like initiation, like like I said, blood in, blood out type of thing, and I just let them have at it, and go, and we talked about earlier about the music that was playing in the background.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Yes, exactly. The gangster rap. And like I had mentioned before, Mike Judge said he was listening to gangster rap like as he's like typing this out and like writing the story. There's a story about executives that did not want like this music to be played. They kind of wanted like more upbeat, type of thing. Even in the trailer, this scene where they highlight this, they play like Chumbawamba and like try to make it like more upbeat and like more fun. But they had a screening of this movie, and the lady who was like, what'd you guys really think about the music? Was it too much? She's like really trying to upsell, like, let's change the music, right? And apparently there was like some kids in the audience, like when I say kids, like 19, 20, like, no, this is what makes it great, is because they think they're thugs and they think they're gangsters, and you're like, that's what makes it funny,
Yeah.
So they end up like keeping it, and I thought that was like a great scene, and it was very iconic in the way how they pulled it off.
The music was good. It was funny.
Yes.
Yeah, and much like all the other like quotes that have lived on in the years, this scene has been parodied so many times. Family Guy's done it a few. Like it's just
You type in
synonymous with
printer beatdown scene on YouTube, and like
Yeah.
friends just grab some tech stuff from their house and go beat it up together and post it on YouTube. Like there's hundreds of videos of all these people just beating up stuff. Like
Yeah. It just is one of the most iconic scenes from the 90s that it will live on forever and probably be parodied
Many more times.
to the next couple generations. Yeah.
Well, there's a whole business around doing this now.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard rage rooms?
Yep.
Like
Smash it rooms. Yeah.
Yes, one of the very first businesses for rage rooms got the idea from this scene from this
nice.
movie, and they're like, "I've wanted to destroy, stuff." So like, they're like, "I'm gonna create a rage room." So I mean, I've done one with my girlfriend like not too long ago, like about a year ago, and you can bring your own stuff. You can get stuff
Can
from
you play
Goodwill.
your own music? Did you play that?
No. What that was another thing too, was like I wish they would have played music, but I think it was like a safety thing so you can hear what's going on in the room.
In case anybody gets hit,
Yes.
screaming.
Exactly. One of my favorite stories from doing that, doing it with Shelby, she took like a beer bottle and there's like a stump you smash everything on, right? And she was like trying to like smash the beer bottle and she goes, "Bar fight," and she like tried to like smash it on the thing, but it just made like the perfect sound and it was very
Tink.
anticlimactic. Yeah, it's like tink. She's like, "Ah, dang it," and she threw it on the ground and it shattered. Speaking of things going wrong, things start to head downhill for a lot of our characters here. Like I'd mentioned before, Peter thinks his hypnosis is starting to wear off during the barbecue with Smikowski, who they're celebrating him getting hit by a truck, which is
He
very
was just
weird.
looking for a settlement. He finally got it.
Yep, exactly. So he's dealing with that. During that, Peter also finds out that his new girlfriend slept with Lumberg. We come to find out later it's actually a different Lumberg, but he even has like nightmares of Lumberg having sex with his girlfriend. The guys lost their jobs. His new girlfriend, Joanna, she quits her job in a very glorious fashion and, flips her boss the bird.
Myself.
Yeah, exactly. So, Milton, unfortunately, he gets passed up for cake time. When we slowly get to see like the cakes getting passed out and him like watching like the cakes go away. So just things are not going well for our characters here. The gang though have the worst of it. They find out that their computer virus worked, but worked too good. They were expecting it to kind of maybe just like have a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, and kind of like enjoy it over a lifetime. But man, they found.
I think Michael mentioned something about a decimal point being out of place or whatever. And,
Yep.
And just looking at it, the receipt said like $300-something thousand over the course of the weekend.
Yeah.
And so decimal point, like, were they expecting $3,000?
Right.
Like, even that's a good chunk of money, but like, I just thought that was interesting. Like looking at the dollar amount and like decimal point, like a couple bucks or a couple $1,000. Like what was their intention?
Right.
But yeah, $300,000 over a weekend that they stole. Like,
I think you had more than a decimal point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
that
I
was
don't
a
know.
full
I'm not
on
a programmer,
Yeah.
but
yeah. Either that was a full on intentional joke or that was just a throwaway fact that I always screw up one decimal point, idiot.
one little mistake.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it was.
Well, even when Peter was explaining like to Joanna to like, he's like, it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction.
You
so
take a penny from the tray, right?
Yeah.
From the cripple tray?
Why are you taking pennies away from cripples?
The pennies for everyone.
Well, it's a good distinction. I mean, I thought that was real clever too. I'm like, hey, that's a serious point.
We kind of reach a tipping point for Milton at this point. He's been moved in his desk twice, and he's finally moved downstairs. His payroll got fixed. He was supposedly be fired 5 years ago. They fixed the bug, but they didn't actually fire him. They tell him, hey, can you spray for cockroaches, even though they know he's not supposed to work there. So he's turned down in the basement, and they turn the lights off on him, and he mutters the line, okay,
It's
but
the last straw.
this is the last straw.
Well, it's I think it's a very important scene too because you know how you were talking about earlier. Lundberg has never been faced with authority above him, and it takes this scene to show you like the Bobs are in control. Lundberg's not. However, there's still one little cockroach that he can be in control of, and that's Milton in this dark basement. That's basically all the control Bill has at this point because I think Peter has already taken his parking spot there's already construction going on in the floor of the office and stuff like that. So it's a very I love the scene because it's very I would say noir lit, but very darkly lit, grungy basement, and Bill's just like spotlighted in the corner. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to spray those cockroaches.
He also comes down with a piece of cake too, like to shove it in his face type of thing.
He's eating that
Yeah.
last.
Oh, was he?
leftovers.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
awesome.
It's because it's like in his hands, and then he puts it off to the side to like dust off his hands or whatever, just to really like, I'm not even gonna finish this in front of you type of thing.
Dude, I want like corner, like basement, secret tunnel office.
You would though. That would be perfect for you.
And then everyone would just leave me alone. Like, go give Tyler this. And like, I don't want to go down there.
Yeah, it's scary down there.
There's cockroaches.
So yeah, this is the last straw for Milton, and we're coming to the conclusion of our movie here. And the gang are freaking out. They're trying to, figure out like what should we do? Should we just give the money back? And they're like, yeah, just hand them back the money, exactly what we stole. Like they're gonna know it's us, So they can't figure it out. And they're like, oh, maybe we can money launder it or whatever, right? And they make the joke of like, we're such nerds, we had to look it up in the dictionary what money laundering is. So there's a cutaway to Orlando Jones. He comes in there, and he comes in there like, hello, my name is so-and-so, and I used to be a crackhead.
But now I sell magazines.
Yeah. And so one thing I loved about Orlando Jones in any movie that he's in, he always plays like over the top characters. The movie Evolution, have you guys seen that? At
Yes.
all?
What did I say about the tookie?
Yeah.
That's an underrated film. I'm glad you brought it up, because
Oh,
I
dude.
mentioned it to people and like they don't even know what I'm talking about, man.
I love that.
That's
Love
one
that
of,
movie.
and then what's his name? Mulder from X-Files. What's the actor's name?
I don't know his name off the top of my
David
head.
Duchovny.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's in the movie too. Yeah, dude,
Stifler's in
it's
there.
it's just an amazing movie that kind of flew under the radar. Recommend to everybody.
For sure. And also The Replacements. If
Yeah.
you're a fan of Gene Hackman, who unfortunately just passed recently, he's in there as well. And The Replacements, he plays like a wide receiver who can't catch, and they slather like crazy glue over his hands, and has a football in his hand and can't get it off, and really good slapstick comedy.
I forget, was Chris Rock the gay character, or was he the gay character
For what?
in The Replacements?
I don't remember there being a gay character in The Replacements.
Right, because it's the jail football movie.
It is a jail. Well, they go to jail. No, you're talking about
Adam saying.
You're talking about.
Oh
The
yeah,
Longest
because they all
Yard.
came out around the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
No,
there's like a whole
that's
group
Tracy
of gay.
Morgan.
The rah-rah cheerleaders.
Tracy Morgan, there you go. That's
Yeah.
right.
No,
Because those came out around the same time, right?
relatively. I mean,
I think.
The Replacements I think came out like in 2000, maybe 2001, and
Yeah.
then The Longest Yard I think came out like in 06, 07.
So welcome to my brain. Apparently, those two movies are just intermingled in my brain. Some weird
I
details
just like
there.
what gay character?
Yeah.
You had mentioned before about talking about how the movie seems like a whole bunch of SNL skits, and like that scene right there does it for me, because like you could take that entire scene out of the movie and the movie would still be completely fine. That did not add anything to the movie except for Orlando Jones gets a cameo and a couple funny lines, but like that scene by itself is still funny and good on its own. And so like that skit mentality that like Mike Judge has done his whole life, his career, whatever, like it is seen just within that scene. Like
For sure.
you could take that scene out and the movie's totally fine. It didn't add
But,
anything. They didn't find out how to launder money. All he did was have a conversation to buy some magazines. Like,
But and then, as you said, you could watch that scene independently with no context, and it would still be funny.
Yeah.
But that's how the whole movie felt to me. It felt like a giant set, like SNL skit, or something. It just the pacing, and we were talking about this in one of the other podcasts. But just the pacing of movies from that period was different.
Yeah.
And even as somebody who doesn't see a ton of movies, the whole time I kind of felt like it just didn't feel like anything was happening. I mean, that wasn't true, though. Lots of things were happening, but just the pacing was so different that I felt, and it just was very melancholy or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what word I want to use there, but like it just felt like,
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah, the pace. I guess that's all I wanted to say was the pacing was just so different that it felt like almost like it was filmed like a soap opera or something.
Yeah, no, that's fair. They find out that they can't, you know, launder money in the proper way that they want to. They suck as criminals. And as Samir says, we're just new at it, you know. Peter decides, you know what? I'm going to take this on. I'm going to take the blame for it. And he ends up, you know, writing a letter and putting it inside an envelope, puts the money inside the envelope, and goes to the office and puts it underneath the door. I love the shot where it's kind of like on the ground, it's holding on the door. You see him slide it in, and the camera just stays there for a second. And then just like a dog chasing his bone underneath the door, just
regrets it and wants to go back and
yeah,
grab it.
immediately, right? And just tries to go get it, and he's just like, it's just right there. He just can't get it. But in the vein of them being bad criminals, you know, he's like, oh, it's gone forever, right? Well, the very next scene where Milton comes in and he's like asking about his paycheck and he wants to talk to Bill Lumbergh, he goes over the door and the door is unlocked. So, Peter being a bad criminal, if he wanted to get it, he could have. He just, you know, I mean, there was glass right there. He could have broke the glass if he wanted to, you know, nobody would have been the wiser. Milton goes in, he wants to grab his stapler, and the scene cuts to basically the building being on fire next. And building's on fire. Peter's like, oh, okay, I think I might be out of this, right? And Milton kind of slinks away and, you know, kind of leaves, and then
Peter's smiling while Milton's character is like weaseling himself through the crowd, and then like gets to the back and like heads back towards the parking lot and stuff. And it's funny because Peter's like smirking.
Yeah.
Like, does he know that he started the fire? Probably, because like he's probably heard him mutter that, set the building on fire, like, hundreds of times at work.
Yeah.
Does he know he took the money? Like,
that's
something like...
Yeah, I don't think so. But, I mean, it's a good point because we talked earlier about, like, hey, he was probably on the phone with him for, like, 8 hours that day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you know, he's probably said, and I think he may even said, he's like, I told them if they move my desk, I'll, you know, burn down the building, you know. So...
that was the best impersonation this whole day. It sounded just like him.
Yeah.
Cadence and everything was there.
So I think he did. I think Peter, based on that, I think you're right. I think he did know that he did it. And, you know, kind of watching him like panic walk away, you know, that would probably allude to him more like, that son of a bitch, he did it, you know? The building burns down, and Peter and Lawrence are there sifting through the rubble.
Yeah, Peter now got a job with Lawrence and his construction company, and
yep. In the deleted scenes, and this is going to be part of my fan theory for the end of this movie. In the deleted scenes, there's a throwaway line of like, "Are you going to go to Lumbergh's funeral?" Right? And Peter goes, "I ain't going to that," you know. And so it would lead one to believe that Lumbergh died in the fire, right? So my thought process is Milton is secretly a serial killer because he went to go confront Lumbergh, right? And
let's paycheck,
yeah, for the paycheck. So let's say that door was actually locked. The secretary was there and like kind of running interference, right? Saying, just go sit your desk. He was like, I already talked to payroll. They told me to talk to Lumbergh. Now I have to go back and forth, right? She's like, sit your desk. Bill will be with you in a moment, basically, right? So I'm assuming that he was already there, right? So he went into the office to get a stapler, confronted Lumbergh, and ended up killing him. And the only way to cover the evidence,
burn the building down,
burn down the building, right? So there's another part of that fan theory that I'm going to perpetuate. At the very end of the movie, he goes, you know, I could write a letter to have this resort taken down, and I could put strychnine in the guacamole, you know. So Milton getting a taste of murder, you know, is like he's, you know, now a serial killer because he's very unassuming. People don't want to.
So who's his third victim then? Serial killers has to be at least 3. So who's the third?
Well, this is the beginning of him killing people.
This is the creation.
Yep,
Milton,
exactly.
the thriller.
Yeah,
2025.
I love his scene at the resort. Big grain of salt.
Big grains of
It's no
salt.
Big grain of salt.
I
I asked for no salt, and there was salt on the glass. Big grains of salt.
They gave me a pina colada. That's the way he said pina colada.
Yeah.
It was great.
I'll take my cashews check somewhere else.
Yep. And I love the guys just walking around. He's like, freaking gringo. You know, another thing that Peter finds in the fire is the red stapler. So another thing that would allude me to my fan theory, I'm thinking that Milton killed Lumberg with the stapler, because he said he was going into his office for the stapler, but then he found the stapler in the fire. So in order to cover up the evidence, he set the building on fire. So that
Can't
way,
take the murder weapon with you.
yeah, exactly. So they're in that last scene that we see Peter and Lawrence together. They're kind of like, you know, shoveling some stuff up. I don't know if you guys noticed or paid attention or not, but there seems to be like a foreman kind of walking towards them, and this scene cuts right before they get to the foreman gets to them, and it like fades to black, and then goes to Milton at the resort. But in the deleted scenes, that scene plays
I remember
out.
seeing that one.
Yeah, it's a little longer.
He gets up there and he's like, I'm gonna need you guys to pick up the pace a little bit, okay?
Yeah, but he does it like in the Lumberg voice.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's very
like,
Lumberg-esque.
yeah,
So.
alluding to like no matter where you're gonna go,
You always got somebody like that.
you always got a Lumberg wherever you're going, which I thought was pretty clever. I wish they would have left that in. I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought like the end of the movie was almost a little anticlimactic. I wanted him to like find the money in the pile or something, like not that that's why he had the construction job. I think he was happy to like be working outside, not have to deal with the corporate life and the cubicle and all the stuff. But I think to your point almost earlier, like the whole movie just feels kind of bland and dry, and I feel like the ending was poor. I think I saw somewhere that even Mike Judge didn't love the ending, but left it original to how it was filmed. I don't know what else was proposed or whatever, but I felt like the ending was just a little bit maybe dry for what it could have been. But.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Bill, did you want to add anything? We were talking about the end there. How did you feel how the ending was, and how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a 90s comedy, so there doesn't need to be like a big grandiose like we learned a lesson, or like a Family Guy like this is the point of the whole episode type of thing. It was fine in my part. I was the ending Milton, or was there one other scene I forget? Like the camera pull back on the beach, was that the ending?
Yeah, that was the ending with Milton.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I'd never heard of that fan theory before you brought it up, but it just makes you wonder and think and hope that maybe he is a serial killer now.
Well, I made up the fan theory that he's a serial killer.
That's what I'm saying. Like I love it because it just makes it even more in depth, and it gives Milton all the power. But yeah, just I don't know. I liked it. It didn't disappoint me or anything. Big grain of salt.
Big grains.
Big grain of salt. Well, before we make our own big grain of salt margaritas, we're gonna take a quick ad break. So please stick around.
Or we'll burn down your building.
Or we'll burn down your building. We'll be right back.
Just a moment.
Hey, and we're back. We just got back from our office party. Hope you got a piece of cake. It was delicious. Well, guys, we are done wrapping up this Office Space review. I always like to kind of rate this movie and all movies kind of on our scale. We are Movies, Film, Cinema, so I like to kind of reach out to each person and say, hey, how do you think that this movie rates? Is it a movie? Is it a film? Is it peak cinema? How does this go for you? We'll start with you, Tyler. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, it's just like a movie for me, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about that, you know, it didn't do very well in the box office, but it did do well for like home theater. And so those types of things I would personally classify as a movie. Something you just throw on, you know, you can watch half of it with your friends or put it on in the background, or it's like, you know, just very simple kind of a comfort thing. You know, and I guess for our generation, it's very like a cult classic. You know, a cult classic kind of everybody knows the references unless you're me, apparently. But
Yeah.
Well, even you know the references.
I know. Well, I know. It's funny. It's so ubiquitous that I even knew the references, and I'd never even seen it.
Yeah.
So,
How about for you, Brian?
Same thing. I think just it's a movie. It's a cult classic. It's so quotable and so entertaining. And like to your point, like you could turn it on with some friends and not even watch it, and it's still just good to have on in the background and stuff. Like not one of those things that everybody shut up. We're watching this. Like pay attention. So
For sure. I do feel like for me as well, this is kind of like a movie where you could. This is kind of like a lost art, like back in the day when where they used to show movies on TV, and you didn't have to be like right there at the beginning of the movie to know like what was going on. You could show up like 3/4 the way through the movie and still kind of figure out the plot and kind of enjoy it. I felt for me this is kind of on the cusp of kind of film just because of how creative writing it is, but it definitely leans more movie for me. It's a very good throwaway, very good comedy, and very quotable. Bill, I'll have you have the last word if you want for rating this film.
Peak cinema.
Peak cinema.
No, it's a movie for sure. Not much else to say about it. Just 90s Mike Judge comedy. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. The other thing I always want to do is to kind of rate this against other movies that we've watched before on the podcast. We'll go in the same order again. We've seen in 1999 we've seen Blast from the Past and October Sky. Between these three, how do you rank these on the list?
this one would definitely be like at the bottom, but that doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed it. I wasn't something. I'm strange with comedy. Like for me, it's really hit or miss. You know, either like I'm pretty into it or not really a fan. Can always appreciate stuff, you know, like individually, but this one probably would be at the bottom. But
okay, yeah. How about for you? Are you familiar with those movies at all?
Oh yeah, I think similarly, it's not peak cinema, as Bill alluded. I think it's a funny movie. It's classic. I might put October Sky and Blast from the Past slightly above it. Yeah.
Okay. How about for you, Bill?
Yeah, same. Just echoing
Yeah.
Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah, just echoing Tyler. It's not a bad film, but it's definitely. I mean, it's hard to. I wouldn't say compare it, but it's hard to put it in the lineup with October Sky. And even though I didn't care for October Sky, it is just a, for lack of better terms, throwaway comedy. So it has to go at the bottom of the list.
yeah, that kind of. I mean, that's like almost apples to oranges. You know, it's
Yeah,
not. It's not
exactly.
even the same genre.
Yeah, I mean, like comparing. I mean, out of all of them that we've reviewed so far, obviously, Blast from the Past is the only other comedy in this lineup. So
Right.
it's like even comparing those, they're kind of different worlds of comedy. So you can't really. It is apples and oranges,
True.
but not bad. But it has to go at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, for me, I feel like if I were to like 1, 2, 3 it, I feel like Blast from the Past would be at the top of the list for me. October Sky next, and Office Space is at the bottom. And like you had said, it's not because it's the worst movie. It's only because that's the only one we've kind of seen so far. So I always also want to kind of point out, if you're a fan of this movie, there's some other movies that you might enjoy that are pretty similar. Waiting is another good workplace movie. Also early 2000s comedy. Idiocracy, another Mike Judge film. We've talked about that on the podcast in the past. That's a great Mike Judge film. If you're in for a disgruntled office worker, there's a movie called Falling Down. That's kind of more of like a darker version of what this Office Space would be. It's basically like this office worker who loses his crap and like walks around town with his briefcase and a shotgun and just doesn't take crap anymore. So,
That's another cult classic, and another one that I know about but I've never seen. So
yeah, that's a great one. Just a guy, and it kind of looks like Shaun of the Dead a little bit, where he walks around with a white shirt and a red tie.
he looks like really 60s.
Yes.
You know, he has like the brow line glasses and
Yep.
yeah.
Have you guys seen Extract with
Extract?
Jason Bateman and Mila Kunis?
Mhm.
It's also a Mike Judge film.
I don't think so.
Kind of workplace stuff. Totally different from Office Space, but
Yeah.
it could go on that same list just because of the Mike Judge aspect and the workplace.
Nice.
Stuff, it's
Where
good.
would you be able to find Extract? Is it like a
I'm-
Netflix movie or?
I'm not sure. not sure where it's
Okay.
currently being streamed or whatever, but
Oh, no, you're fine. I
It's-
just
it's a good
didn't know
one.
if it was like I've never heard the movie, so I didn't know if it was like a
Yeah.
Netflix special.
I love
or-
Jason Bateman, and it's a good movie with him and Mila Kunis, and
Yeah. Anything with Mila Kunis, she's funny. She's got great comedic timing. Go ahead, Bill. I'm
looks
sorry.
like you can. Yeah, it looks like you can just watch it on your Amazon Prime or streaming, or I'm sure there is a physical media copy out there, Brandon.
There's got to be.
it's because of the Mike Judge connection. It's kind of that dry humor, and the plot doesn't have that huge rise in it and climax that you might be looking for, but it's good, just funny comedy. So
That's awesome. Well, in order to watch Office Space, as always, I'm going to stand on my physical media soapbox. You can see in between the guys here, I had a Blu-ray copy of Office Space. Have actually a DVD copy originally as well, somewhere in my storage unit. You can always find Office Space on streaming as well. You can find it on Hulu, and I believe it's on Prime as well. So if you want to rent it or watch it there. So always a good idea to find it and get it where you can. The last thing we want to do, guys, is I always like to try to keep us relevant. Just try to say, hey, what have you guys been watching? What have you been up to? And then we'll wrap this up. So Tyler, what you been watching? What you been reading? Anything that's been kind of going on? Anything that you've consumed that's kind of recent that you've enjoyed?
Oh, I think I was telling you at the beginning. I don't know if we were recording, but I rewatched Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Or not rewatched. Damn, I'd never seen it.
Oh, you never seen it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd never seen it, and I said, yeah, I should see that. Everybody says it's fantastic, and so I agree. It was, and like I'm not like I know a fair amount about World War II, but I'm not a huge buff, but there were tons of little details in there that I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and I haven't seen anything like it before. But no, it was amazing. So I was really enjoying that.
Have you heard or are you knowledgeable that it's based off of a Stephen Ambrose book?
I heard that. And that, that several of the guys that were, interviewed were the actual people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's obvious, but that's just neat.
Yeah.
They were still alive. Well, and I think that, people forget that was, and I think I didn't realize that it was filmed so long ago that those guys weren't that old yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you look at them in that movie and you're like, man, they don't look like they could look like they're in their 70s. Well, some of them probably were in their late 70s,
Right.
It's kind of, interesting. It was so well done. It just didn't feel like it was made 25 years ago, so.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest undertakings and biggest budget things that HBO has done at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of those things. If you haven't seen Band of Brothers, especially as somebody who's appreciates military stuff, or just even if I've shown past significant others that they've enjoyed it as well. It's just there's just so much character and such good storytelling in that series.
Yep.
So for
Agreed.
sure. How about you, Brian? Anything you've been watching or anything you've consumed recently? Or
I've got two little girls at home, so a little bit of Disney Plus action on my end.
Lots of Bluey.
Lots of Bluey. Watched Moana 2 again last night. On Netflix, I've been watching Peaky Blinders.
Okay.
It's a great show.
I've heard that's great.
It's phenomenal. It's got some ebbs and flows. It's not perfect, but very enjoyable. 1800s gang in England, and how they take over England, and right before World War II, and the Nazis are coming to power is where we're at in season 6 and stuff. And
So probably the 30s, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I'm not sure the timeline within the show, but in season 6 where they're at currently, they're the leader of this gang is meeting with other very influential people from America, from other countries, and having meetings about how the Nazis are coming to power and stuff. So
Okay.
it's early in that.
Okay.
that
Oh,
time
so,
frame,
so okay, so probably late 20s or something
Possibly,
like that.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure they mentioned some years in some of the episodes, but I can't remember what year they're
Yeah,
currently playing in or whatever.
just curious. Cool.
But yeah.
What's the main actor's name? Is it Cillian Murphy?
Yes.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
I actually just watched a movie not too long ago called Red Eye with him in it, and was watching some behind the scenes stuff and talked about Peaky Blinders and stuff. So I've been interested in that as well.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah. Bill, how about you, sir?
Been kind of busy this year, so I haven't had time to watch much, but I've, through the list of things, what is it? Moana 2, Captain America, Companion, and then just recently Mickey 17. I will say, because on my last podcast, I think I said Captain America, I don't have a problem with Anthony Mackie. I just didn't see him as a Captain America. Chris Evans did such a good job of being that American captain. And Anthony Mackie is a great actor. He just has that persona that I just didn't see it. But I will say, movie was terrible. He was the best part. He did everything he could to make that movie as good as it could be, but the editing and everything else Disney has been doing to Marvel lately, unfortunately, took that away from Anthony Mackie, and I feel so bad for him. But Companion was a great movie, unexpected, with what is it? Thatcher,
Jack Quaid,
Sophia Thatcher, and Jack Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
Fun movie. Mickey 17, not as good as I hoped it was going to be.
Yep.
But that's about it as far as movies go.
Well, as I always say, if you're on Letterboxd, that's kind of where I put at least movies that I watch and kind of update our list there on movies that we are watching here on the podcast. So you can check our reviews on Letterboxd and follow along with us. Some of the most recent things that I have watched, just like kind of Bill said, we watched Mickey 17 kind of around the same time. If you guys are familiar with that movie at all, it's like a Robert Pattinson like clone, like kind of like a multiplicity type of thing.
Okay.
Kind of
Bong Joon-ho's recent film.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi sort of thing. Similar to kind of how the trailer was for this movie. The trailer kind of overplayed its kind of quirkiness. Was not very quirky. It was kind of really on the nose with like a lot of political statements that it said, and I didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of people seem to do. I completely agree with Bill. Companion, which is lack of a better term, the guy has a girlfriend that's a sex robot, and she doesn't know she's a robot, and she ends up murdering somebody, and it's a whole kerfuffle with that. That was really, really good. I also am in the same vein of how you feel about Captain America. I saw it as well around the same time. Sam Wilson is my Captain America. So when I got into comics back, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 years ago, that's kind of when they were handing off the shield to Sam Wilson from the original Captain America. So I kind of really, identified with him and his character and kind of the storyline that he has. So I agree. Anthony Mackie wasn't the issue with that movie. It was all of the stuff surrounding him. So it just seemed like a Disney Channel Plus movie, like more than like a Marvel movie.
To preference, for lack of better terms, I didn't think that Anthony Mackie was going to be the worst part of it. Like, he's a great actor. I don't have anything against him. I just, like, when you put him on a pedestal next to the way that Chris Evans, like, personified the Captain American character, Anthony Mackie just has this kind of, like, cocky delivery to him. So I just couldn't see him in the role. He did a phenomenal job in this, and he did what he could. It's just the filmmakers and that Disney mouse studio really stepped their foot in and muddled things up.
Yeah, I agree. It was reshot. It was over budget. It was bloated. It just, I think at one point they're just like kind of just put it out there because we got to get rid of this thing. So
Bluey's awesome. They can take credit for that, but they just bought that from Australia. So
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say that's not even
the only good stuff.
That's not even their own IP.
Not even there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the Disney Renaissance is over. Well, like I said, you can follow us on Letterboxd at MFC Pod. That's one of our social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on all of the big social medias there, TikTok and everything. If you're watching this podcast with us right now, hey, you found us on YouTube. We are also on all your major podcasting apps. So we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, anywhere you can find us, we're there for you. At the very end of the show, I wanted to mention we are, for this episode in particular, we're going to be doing a movie giveaway. So when this bad boy airs, for the week that it airs, we're going to be doing a movie giveaway. So all you have to do is make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and to our Facebook page, and in the comments, either on the YouTube comment section or on Facebook, you just say, give me that free movie, and I'm going to send you a stack of free movies, probably about this thick. I'm going to support that physical media and try to get people into as much as possible. So the first 19, we'll do 19 because it's 19.99. First 19 people who do that, I'm going to send you some free movies. So make sure you're doing all those social media buzzwords, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going to see you next time. And as always, enjoy Movies, Film, Cinema. That's a wrap on this episode of Movies, Film, Cinema. If you enjoyed today's feature presentation, like and subscribe. Share your comments and reviews down below. But until next time, keep the popcorn popping and the films rolling. See you at the movies!
Just a moment.